And we are live. Here we go.
What's going on, guys?
Welcome to Painkiller Already, episode
199.
199. And our guest tonight is Richard Ryan from RatedRR.
How's it going?
Wow. You know, he's been on this call for like 15 minutes, and he never talked that sexy until just now. Like, that's a whole thing. You know, all of a sudden, it's like, hey, baby. Yeah. So, Richard Ryan has a YouTube channel. How to describe it? It's he does experiments on it. There's lots of like high quality slow-mo images on it. He has a series now where he destroys an iPhone 6 Plus every day of the week.
By putting it in his pocket.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
He put it in his pocket.
If only I had thought of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy. I wonder how many views he's getting.
It's like, last I checked was 27 million.
Really?
Yeah, probably a few.
That is That is out next level. What was I going to say? Oh, and I don't know. He puts things in liquid nitrogen. He must have an FEL, Federal Explosive License, because he's got plenty of C4 in his videos. And wingsuit jumping and stuff. Anyway, RatedRR, that's our guest. He does insane stuff. So, Richard, you're on a deserted island.
I just don't want to step on you while you're talking.
I know. I'll do
It's
it to
gonna
you.
happen.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You're on a deserted island, and you're there. It's a good-sized thing by yourself with a mermaid. Top half or bottom half fish? You choose. Go.
And to add a little more, you can't masturbate at all while you're on the island.
Oh, really?
There was a terrible crab incident on the first day, and your hands are useless in that regard. Very callous and uncomfortable. So this is your only outlet. So is it going to be a cold fish vagina with a warm human top, or a warm human vagina with a cold fish top?
Well, see, you guys are going like straight to the sexual reasons for it. For me, I'd just be like, oh, okay, well, I'm on a deserted island. Bottom half fish, so she can go get food.
Yeah, that was my answer too. I had this idea that if it was top half human, then we could like form some sort of human mermaid team. She could. I assume she's excellent at catching fish. She can bring that stuff back to me. I might just
ride that fish piggyback to the next island.
Yeah, I like the way you're thinking. You know, like I just feel like if she's got a fish head,
we
we'll
arrive
never
at
team
like
up.
Oahu, and she's just like, so we're gonna be together forever, right? And I'm just like walking up on the beach, like, so I don't really like the beach.
You know,
I'll call you,
Kyle. That's not how you operate. I know exactly what you'd say.
So maybe you could crash at his house.
No, Kyle, you'd be like, yeah, we'll be together forever. You'll just be, on Team Kyle in the harem, right?
Yes.
You'll have to be really convincing in the middle of the ocean where she's like, do you really love me, baby? Do you really? Yeah, just keep swimming. Keep going.
I'm only like a jockey.
Yeah.
I think that's really the only way to go, because I mean, has anybody ever picked the top half fish?
Dude, people have picked the most fucked up shit. We had a guy who picked it
down the middle
based on eating the mermaid. He's like, well, I guess I go top half fish because that's where all the meat is, and you'd cook her.
Wow.
Eat a mermaid, feed a man for a day.
And it just shows what a bunch of misogynistic
for a lifetime.
It just shows what a bunch of misogynistic assholes we are, that no one has ever been, well, top half human, of course, so I have someone to talk to. No one ever says that.
No.
Yeah, what would they say? Yeah, I want the
Not
top half to be
once.
human so I can listen to really cogent, interesting, and funny tales from
What they
their...
will say sometimes, well, you should give me a blowjob, I guess. That fish vagina's not... I'm not having that, though. Like, no one's ever like, well, I could have someone to talk to for the rest of my days on this island. They're talking about fucking a fish in some way. That's all dudes care about.
Yeah.
It typically goes that way.
Yep.
So, but who has the iPhone 6? Did any of us switch to one?
It turns
I
out
did.
my phone's
I'm
eligible.
sure Richard did. Richard, you're using one now, right? Like
Yeah.
you kept one yourself.
Yeah, I know. So the thing was, I honestly, I was gonna switch to the 6 Plus, but I literally changed my mind right as we were going in, because when you camp out in the past, they would give you a ticket and you'd have to make your decision before you actually go into the store. And I was like, well, I haven't even seen what a 6 Plus looks like, and held it in my hand. And then as soon as I did, I was like, nah, it's not me. Because I just between going to the range and stuff like that, it's bound to get jacked up somewhere or another. And the 6 holding it in my hand was actually significantly bigger than the 5S. So I was like, well, yeah, I think I'll just stick with this.
Yeah, that's a huge phone. I don't think I would want one that big. I've got this LG thing, and I'm pretty happy with it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I cut you off. I went through the same thought process. I wanted the 6 Plus because I wanted like the good one, right? The best one. It has the longer battery life. It has the better camera, and I thought I'd do that. And then now, like, everything I read is like, this thing is big. It's really big. If you're buying this sight unseen, you need to know that you're a phablet guy. You know, that's the kind of phone that you prefer. The 6 is bigger, but everyone who has normal phones will just kind of get used to it. Or if you're coming from the Android world, a lot of the phones are that big already. The 6 Plus is, everything I read is, you won't just get used to it. Unless that's what you want. You know, maybe you're a big guy, maybe you have like, you know, big pockets or a purse or something, and you just prefer phablets.
You would have to be 7'5" for that to be an appropriately sized phone. It is. I saw someone using one today. It is completely unreasonable and ridiculous.
You saw a 6 Plus in the
it's
wild?
half past retarded. It doesn't look cool. You look like a jackass who couldn't decide on a phone or a tablet, so you split the difference and took the inconvenient parts of both.
Well, I agree. I think that's it with like Apple and their design though too. Is like it's really unfortunate that they create like tablets, the iPad Mini, the iPad, and then the iPhone, but they're obviously like media consumption devices. Like who doesn't show their friends videos from YouTube and stuff like that? Like, here, check this out, this large screen, and then you got to cup your hand to show it to them. It's like, I love that the HTC One has front-facing speakers on it, because it's like, I want to show you something, or I want to listen to something. You're laying in bed watching Netflix on a tablet. It's like, oh, I got to cup my hand to watch Game of Thrones. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous.
I'm with you. You know what? On a related note, that's why we don't have we have an iPad in our house, but we have many more computers. I don't even know how many computers we have. But the thought process is this, that like tablets, which some people use as their primary things, are for consuming, and computers are for creating, you know? And I feel like if there's a learning tool that exists in there, like people who make videos, people who make documents, people who do their schoolwork, people like you do your creation on a computer and you do your consumption on a tablet. And that's why the ratio in this house is like 8-1, you know, computer to tablet, because, you know, that's what I expect from my family, right? I want to be I want to be a maker, not a consumer.
They got dark real fast.
I hold them to.
So this is what I expect from my family.
I'm not backing down from that, though.
Production ratio. All work and no play.
That's great, but it's also true, bitch. You know, we don't just watch in this family, we make. So you know, that's my expectation. That's why we have computers and not just tablets everywhere.
Yeah.
But
fair enough.
Yeah.
I got a little bit of everything, but the thing I use the most is my desktop computer. Like I sit here at my like my PC. I really do.
You PC gamer?
Yeah, I've slowly become one. I didn't used to be, but like I've had a gaming PC for a long time. I just never hooked it up and used it. And we started playing some games together in a little YouTube series we've been doing. So I started playing some PC games with them, so I get to play like a different PC game every week. So yeah, I've kind of become a PC gamer. I just bought a PlayStation 4 to play Destiny, but it's like,
really?
Like 90. Yeah, I want to play it. The live action trailer that was on YouTube sold me. That trailer
that was so sick.
That live action
amazingly
trailer
good.
sold a PlayStation, and yeah, it sold a PlayStation. Yeah.
The little Peter Dinklage flying orb thing is what's going to make me go buy it. You know.
You know, you
I
say
liked that. I'm being serious. I liked it.
I'm serious too. Like I was like,
Yeah.
oh, so Tyrion Lannister's my buddy. All right, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go get a PlayStation. I'm just waiting on the game to show up. I don't know why it's not fucking here yet. They said they were sending it.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting too old. It's like hard to like adapt to like consoles and everything. Like, because I've been Xbox for so long, switching back onto PlayStation from like last time I really like committed to it was like PlayStation 2. And it just like when I go back, the controls, I get so frustrated so fast trying to play people, because the level of like the gamers out there, the bar is just raised so high, and like just trying to compete or like trying to play these people out there is like frustrating enough without trying to get the interface down and everything. I can't even imagine going to like PC gaming like that. That's just like a whole different level of gamer for me.
there's
Every
casuals
week.
too.
Every week we play, like I said, a different game. and it's myself, Woody, and another guy, and the other guy, Chiz, whips our ass every fucking week, no matter what game we play, no matter like. And one of his secret weapon is this. He usually picks the games, and he oftentimes picks games that he's played before. He's like, yeah, but I haven't played in a year. Meanwhile, it's a game called Chivalry, which is like medieval combat, swords and shields, and it's really skillful, like with the timing of the swords and shields. And he's hacking people the fuck up. Meanwhile, I'm going like 4 and 15. Just he kicks our ass at everything. Speedrunners, trials.
Yeah, Trials Evolution, it's like a motorcycle game, and your motorcycle is really difficult to control. And he's doing like double backflips. He's got like custom clothes and motorcycles in it, and we're just like, it's insane. And so yeah, he usually starts off better, but he's also a good gamer. But Chiz, if you watch this, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you. No one likes you.
There's always a few Chiz apologists that are like, hey, he's not that bad. I like Chiz. And then everybody else is like, fuck off, he sucks. Like that one has 1,000, thumbs up.
And just for the record, Chiz is a great guy. Really great guy. I don't know why you guys give him such a hard time. You used to call him
Dr. Shiv.
Funny Lefty. No, they used to call him Funny Lefty when Lefty was Funny Lefty. They called him Funny Lefty, insinuating that he was a better version of Lefty. So then when we got rid of Lefty and we put Chiz on for a little while, as a guest, they were like, what are we doing with this shitty version of Lefty? And I'm like, wait. 2 weeks ago, this was the better version of Lefty, and now it's the shitty version of. They're just assholes. I like Chiz, but he is a real fucking asshole. So fuck him and his hand-eye coordination, or like the hours of practice he puts in the night before, or whatever. I imagine like chugging Red Bull and like playing Chivalry 8 hours before we get started, so we can whip our asses.
There was one game that you played all night long in an effort to be good before we played, and then we didn't end up playing it. What game was that? Play it.
Narwhal. It's the Narwhal game. You control a Narwhal, and no, it's a Narwhal. It's that whale with the long unicorn thing.
That's a different animal, different game.
And it's really hard to control, and you're trying to poke things with the point, and it's incredibly difficult. And I played all night. I did the training missions like 8 times each, and I'm sitting there like really getting this down. I'm like, I'm gonna fuck them up. Next day we go to play. It doesn't have competitive.
Do you have, like, the Rocky soundtrack on a loop?
Oh yeah.
Motivating yourself.
Yeah. I'm the best tiger. It's the thrill of the fight, rising up to the challenge of and the narwhals just fucking all night long.
That was so good. I'm gonna get a copyright strike. Congratulations, Kyle. That's how well you're singing.
What was that super addictive game that you were playing when I came over with the shapes, or what was that?
Geometry
Wars. Yeah.
Oh, I remember when you were addicted to that. And then you paid someone to get the high score, didn't you? So you could beat Sam 5000?
Absolutely.
That wasn't widely known.
I've said that before. I don't care. I do what it takes. Win at all costs. Win at all costs.
I remember one time Hutch reached out to me because Hutch was totally into Geometry Wars, right? And he's like, funny. Woody, I need to speak to Kyle. And I didn't know, but he had been reaching out to Kyle and not getting any responses. So I reach out to Kyle on his behalf. I'm like, hey, Hutch wants to talk to me. So
let me give you the backstory, like fast forward. So there was a while where like a lot of people got in Geometry Wars and they got really competitive at it, but I sucked at it. No matter how hard I tried, I was really bad at it. But I found this guy who was incredible. So and he got a high score for me. And I passed it off as my own, and it blew their minds because it was way too fucking high to even be legit. I never thought they'd even buy it. It was like 4 billion or something.
Yeah,
like
everyone's getting like 100 million or something like that. And the game, by the way, it gets progressively harder, right? So like, the scores go up progressively, but like to survive for 70 seconds is twice as hard as 60. And Kyle's going on for like minutes and minutes.
Minutes, like a badass. It was hilarious, and it blew their mind because they were just like, "How? Not fair!" And they were all working so hard to break that score. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I remember seeing the high score on that, and like the day before, Hutch was at the top with like 1.1 billion, and I was like, "Man, that is insurmountable," because I was at like 150 million. And then the next day, I saw like a tweet from him, and I logged on, and it was like second place Hutch 1.2. Kyle, 4.6 billion. So like over tripled, almost quadrupled everybody else's score.
Literally one of the best on the planet.
So like 9
like a
months
lot of
later,
people do.
Hutch reaches out to me. I need to talk to Kyle. So I'm like, Kyle, Hutch just wants to talk to you. I don't know what it's about. And Kyle's like, fuck him. I'm not talking to him. And then and Hutch was like this, like, you know, he was like a big deal in the community. He worked for Machinima. He was kind of the spokesman for Machinima. Like he was the face of Machinima. Him and Sark were the two people that kind of represented them publicly anyway. Mm-hmm. And whenever Hutch wanted to come on PKA or something, there was always an open invite. And when he wanted to talk to Kyle, Kyle wanted no part of it. And I found out later that Hutch was like, you know, I don't think it's right. Like there's some sort of criminal case for Kyle getting a high score. It's silly.
Oh, it was hilarious. They were so stressed out about this Geometry Wars score, and I was like, you know, I must have spent 12 hours trying to beat them. Why don't I just use my noggin here, and I could probably beat him about 15 minutes making a few phone calls.
Yeah.
And that's how it worked.
And he was literally one of the best on the planet.
Yeah, I got like the third best guy on the planet, and I was like, hey, I make YouTube videos. He's like, yeah, I know who you are. I was like, cool. How would you like to help me out?
So did you just give him the login to your like console name or something?
Well, no, of course not, because I needed video of me breaking the record. So
How did that work?
I sent him an Xbox, a capture card, and told him how to use it.
Okay.
Are you
He could
serious?
record the footage. Yeah. When it all cost, Taylor.
How
Like,
much did this score
Clever
cost
girl.
you in the end?
Well, he had an
It
Xbox.
cost you
Time.
anything. I've always had like multiple capture cards and Xboxes, so it wasn't a big deal. Like
I thought you meant you had one shipped to him new.
I did ship it to him, but he shipped it back. He's a nice guy.
Cool. Do you remember his name?
No.
No.
I think he ratted me out later, so fuck him, really.
Tell us how you really feel.
I usually do. I'm an open book here.
Richard, I liked your Blend Tech video. I watched a Blend Tech video where they blended phones, including an iPhone 6 Plus, and the top-rated comments were like, "This is all bullshit," and they linked to yours. Did you see that?
I did. I just saw it right before we came on here. So I tweeted out to Tom, and I feel
Who's
bad because
Is he the guy?
The guy from Blend Tech, yeah.
Okay.
And because he was so nice in that video response that he posted. Like he did like a response to me and uploaded it to his channel and invited me out to their studios to come out there to blend the phone to show me how it's done and everything. And I'm like, that was nice. And he even offered to send me a replacement blending jar. So because the one that I ruined from catching it on fire.
It would have been better if he'd responded like, "Fuck you! This is a great blender. You don't know shit." But like because he's like, "Yeah, you know, yeah, I'm sorry about that, but yeah, come on out, hang out, you know, blend stuff with me." Like just makes you feel worse about it.
Do you still think
imagine.
that
I haven't
it's the magic of editing and nonsense?
Yeah, well, that's what I assumed because I legit because anytime I do something, I want to give it the benefit of the doubt, right? Because I'm not a hater, I'm not a troll. I could care less. Like if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And so when I did it, I was actually really excited, hoping that it would just like I'd have this pile of dust. But after using it for like 30 minutes, putting it on low settings, high settings, and everything, it really didn't do nothing to the phone. I mean, like it chopped up the screen and everything. But like this
It
huge.
chopped up the insides and the screen into dust, right?
On mine?
Yeah.
Not really, just the
There was
screen.
dust
the
involved.
chip. Yeah, but that's the different layers and the screen and the display and everything. The chip and the processor, battery, all that stuff was still intact underneath. But I mean, like I had to bend the phone to be able to get it to sit right in there so it'd jump on the blades and everything. But yeah, I mean, like so soon as I saw that, even before getting on like the podcast here, I was like, I feel weird because like this guy just made a video response to mine. I'm like,
I watched his the whole time thinking, look at this charlatan trying to pretend he can blend an iPhone. I know that back aluminum case will just spin with the blades and not do what he says it does.
Well, yeah,
Look at this
and
snake
so
oil
like
salesman fooling all of these rubes
All
into
these
buying
would-be-
the expensive blender.
I honestly, I'm really like happy with the way he like reached out and everything. Like, I mean, he did call me out on his YouTube channel, but I mean, like, he was really nice about it. So I'm like, yeah, dude, I'll come hang out and you show me what I did wrong, because I will always admit when I'm wrong. If you like, you show me that I did something wrong, I said something wrong, please like show me how I can learn from my mistake. You know, like, what do I do to get this thing to blend? Do I need to put something on the blade or what?
I don't see what you did wrong. I mean, and
I
apparently
can't
off
imagine you
camera
did.
there were 30 minutes of blending attempts. That's
Yeah, you can't blend something incorrectly. There are only so many buttons. Like,
Yeah, well, it's to my benefit, really, for it to blend, because it makes for a better video, seeing like the destruction and everything. I was actually kind of like frustrated because I was like, I want to see this thing break up so we can get it in like slow mo and all this other stuff, and it's like it's not doing anything. So,
Oh, quick question. Richard, have you ever seen The Edge with Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin when the bear's chasing him in the woods?
yes.
Okay, awesome. Let's talk. So we do a thing where we pick a movie every week and we all watch it. And none of the guys had ever seen The Edge, so we picked that last week and we all watched it. Do we want to talk about the movie of the week since Richard has actually seen it before?
I think so. I'll say this. I really enjoyed the movie, and I'm not sure if it's because I had such a good time hanging out with Kyle and Chiz, or because the movie was good, or maybe a
Yeah, we
combo
watched
of the
it
two.
together. It was pretty gay. We all got in a call like this and we watched the movie together, and I really liked it too. It was kind of a mystery science theater type thing where like we didn't talk over the dialogue, but when there were like moments where it was like a like B-roll, like just a scenic view or the plane flying, like we'd chat a little bit about the movie and there keep each other, make sure that we knew what was going on, and it was really good. I like that movie. I'd seen it before, of course. I've probably seen it 4 or 5 times. My dad loves it. Like we watched it 4 or 5 times.
I have a movie watching problem where like I don't make assumptions about what's happening when you're supposed to infer. So I'm asking them questions. Like unless they're actually having sex, I'm like, are they a couple?
He didn't know that Anthony Hopkins and that model were married until
why
they
I
were
asked.
in bed together.
Yeah.
there were a lot of context clues before that, kind of like, "Hey, honey," and then a little kiss on the cheek with a wedding ring emblazoned on the
Can't
screen.
be sure. Some brothers and sisters are like that.
Well, they were married too.
This isn't Game of Thrones. No, but so I think a lot of the fans are actually watching with us with these movies. So I'd like to see in the comments what you guys thought about the movie. If you're happy with my pick last week,
Best movie so far.
thank you. Well, it didn't have much to go against. The first pick was The Master. The second pick was You're Next, that horror movie. So this is a really good movie. I like The Bear. The Bear, I think, sold the movie.
Yes.
When he's like jumping on the log. I know you guys. I feel like Chiz thought that was silly, but that
Yes.
was horrifying to me because I think I could imagine the bear would be smart enough to do something like that. Because I've seen like black bears like do weird stuff with dumpsters and stuff and like paw their way into cars and into coolers and stuff and locked areas. They're smart.
Have you seen bears?
And they'll fiddle with things. They'll sit and mess with something until they get it to work.
I've seen bears in person, and I've only seen brown bears. It's my understanding that grizzly bears and maybe black bears or Kodiak or polar, I don't know, are much different. But brown bears, like, I'm the tough guy in that situation. I see a brown bear bothering my picnic basket. It's like, get out of here, bear, shoo, and we're like running the bear off, and he's like trying to grab the chips as he, it runs into the woods so that he was, his efforts weren't completely in vain. But, they seem like big raccoons is what they were, and just as skittish and scared and not wanting to mess with people. But maybe if it was a polar bear, he'd be like, who are you talking to like that? But who knows?
I mean, it's a big raccoon that could remove your face in like an eighth of a second. Like even the little one just
The claws
just
on
face
those
gone,
things,
torn
like
apart.
it's hard to get an idea for just how big those claws are, but they're just massive. And you could on that Bart the bear. That was the bear's name, was Bart. He was in the credits. His paws and those claws look like each of them is like this fucking big. It would be awful when he's eating Mekhi Phifer, when he's like got him by the thigh and he's like shaking him in the air like a rag doll and you can hear flesh tearing. That was intense.
Did you see the YouTube video of the tiger eating that Indian guy?
Well, I've seen that sort of thing before, but no, not recently.
It happened recently. Well, it happened this
I've
year.
seen a lot of people get eaten online by animals. Thinking about it now.
Haven't we all?
You know,
Yeah,
there's a
kind
lot
of
of
a
good
weird
videos
fetish.
out there. Like, I thought of like 3 when you brought that up.
So this Indian guy who I am told is like mentally disturbed was leaning over to better throw rocks at the tiger.
What an
And,
asshole.
right, and then he falls in the in the like pit thing, and
Instant karma.
yeah. So now he just keeps praying, right? And his praying motion is something like this. Oh wait, I'm trying to put myself on screen.
Praying? Like,
He's
for-
going like this, right? Just back and forth. And the tiger is like, I don't know. Sometimes he'll take like a little swat and like not mess with it. And the guy just keeps doing this. And I thought that was maybe a defensive move. And I later read that it was just it's a prayer thing that, you know, if I was Indian, I would have picked up on. And at one point, the tiger, like, you know, like, people to defend him started leaning over and throwing rocks at the tiger. And it gets him a little agitated. So the tiger's like, well, I'm going to take my toy and get out of here. So he just quick takes a bite of his neck and drags him like he was a stuffed animal off into the deeper part of like this, you know, his habitat. And he was insta-dead when the tiger bit his neck. I only brought it up because like how quickly he went from living to dead was shocking for me. I could probably find the video.
Yeah, let's find it
guess
and
I-
watch it,
I-
and then try and get the podcast back in a good mood.
Yeah, I guess I want to see that now.
You know you do.
Well, my day wouldn't be
Nonsense.
complete if I didn't watch the life leave someone's eyes, I suppose. Fuck, Woody.
Oh, wait.
This is awful.
After this, let's lighten it up by watching someone get shot at a gas station for not buckling up.
That's South Carolina's finest. Oh, God. But it's not, every time it's like South Carolina, Alabama, Florida, Tennessee. I'm just like, thank you, not us again. Thank you, not us again.
Florida's the big one. Florida dominates.
Florida is the big
that
one.
field.
Florida is the big one.
Yeah.
That there's a whole subreddit called Florida Man.
Yes.
It's
Florida
our,
Man.
it's our Florida Man, and it's about the fact that there's enough stories that begin with Florida Man that are bizarre to justify an entire subreddit.
Are you guys ready to watch this video?
Yeah, let's watch a tiger kill a man.
All right. Queue up
excited
at
about
0
it.
seconds and let me know when everyone's ready.
I am ready.
I'm ready.
Richard? Did he non-verbally imply he's ready?
His mouth's moving like he's talking.
Interesting.
Ah,
I can't hear him though.
worst guest ever.
You know what? Jesus, just cut it here. We're done. We're done for the night.
We'll do it live. So Richard, your mic doesn't work. Maybe you can sort that out while we check out the video.
Yeah.
Thumbs
Just
up if that
sign
works
us
for you.
what you think of it.
Do you know ASL?
American sign.
I don't, so it won't be helpful.
Oh.
I think that was 1 second, very slowly.
Yeah, and then he typed.
There's the thumbs up. Oh, he's leaving. Should we? What should we do here? Should we wait for him? Let's play the
You should
video.
leave
let's
him in
give
the
it-
dust.
Yeah, let's wait on him a second. He probably
Yeah.
literally will just have to reset his thing.
Okay. He's a pretty technical guy, I think.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
is. Yeah, maybe you should ask him about that. Maybe you should ask him about his education, his background, because he told me one night, and it was so there was so much to it that I didn't retain it all, and it's really impressive. It's quite impressive.
Well, here he
But
is.
right
He's
now, I want to
back.
watch a tiger kill a man.
See,
so-
did that
Yeah,
work?
that fixed
Yes.
it. That fixed it. Are you
It's so
queued up at
weird.
0?
I'm queued up 0.
So sometimes we watch videos in sync. Are you ready? There's a link in the chat. Do you need help?
Oh yeah, resend it because I had to close out to get
Right,
my microphone
right,
to work.
of course.
God, I was the worst guest ever.
You know, someone said that guy was a jerk.
All right, queuing up.
At least
up
it's
to
a
0.
vertical video.
Oh yeah, right.
All right. Ready, set,
Yep.
play. All right. So this guy was previously throwing rocks. We don't know that. But he's kind
Doesn't
of...
look like he's praying.
Holy shit, that tiger is enormous.
Yeah. And that's some sort of
God.
dried up, like, river
Human for
part of-
scale.
And there it is. That's the motion I was talking about. Do
Does
you see
anybody
it
else
now?
think he should punch the tiger?
Just going like this.
The tiger, that's I think if you were Indian, you would recognize that as like a prayer thing. And the tiger's just kind of confused by it, right? He's like, all right, we're playing.
Tiger's like, what is this little monkey doing?
Yeah. He's like, what is this hairless
That's what we are to
chimp?
them, just monkeys that they can eat.
And the tiger's like, we're playing wavy hands. I'm completely unfamiliar with the rules of this game. And he's like,
tail is like.
If you had told me that was praying, I could have been sold like, oh, this is something that you should do in front of a tiger. Applaud it for its efforts, and it'll go away.
No, apparently he's praying, and he's mentally disturbed, and he was previously, like, the reason he fell in is there's like a barrier between the gate and the wall, and he went like all the way over it so he could get a better angle to throw rocks at him. And he'd been warned multiple times by the zoo personnel not to do it. Because at first I thought this could never happen.
I think it's funny that that's like a 3-strike policy. Like, hey, no more rock throwing. Hey, you again? Come on now, shape up. Like,
I thought in America this could never happen, right? Like, you know, because but as I see the barrier deeper in the video, there it is. Watch. He just gets fed up. Oh no, it's not there yet. So now he's probably scratched or something.
Oh no, this is no good.
Zap.
Man.
Oh,
What? Look at him run
like
with him.
Like a squirrel in my cat's jaws. Holy shit.
oh my god.
That was a human. A little one, but a human.
Wow.
Yeah, that guy probably weighed like 140 pounds, but still.
Yeah, and the way he just drug him back there.
Like you've seen like a cat grab a mouse or something and run with it, like it was nothing. Like a dog with a rabbit or something.
Right. Yeah, it would take 2 people for the weight of them to be noticed by the tiger. And it was just the fight was so lopsided.
Yeah, it was running up those like kind of weird zoo stairs they have where like water can flow down and everything, and the guy's dead legs were just banging off of it like you were dragging a stuffed animal. Like no tact, no care, just whatever. This is just a light little pillow for me. Yeah, I'd feel bad for him if the fact like he wasn't throwing rocks at a tiger. That kind of makes him a dick. And kind of, he deserves it.
It shocked me.
Throw rocks at a tiger, asshole.
I'm thinking of something large that I could drag like that. Like the cushion on a Shea lounge. I could drag like a tiger would drag a human. Like that. That's what it would take.
You were talking about the bears and everything. A quick little story. I went up to Kodiak Island to film a Spanish hunting show. And I don't speak Spanish, but I was filming it for some friends. And we went up there to go halibut fishing, go Sitka blacktail hunting and everything. And it's in November. And normally bears are getting ready to go hibernate this time of year because the snow's starting to fall and everything. And generally inland, it's not as big of a threat. But for some reason, I guess the warm waters coming up through the Kenai Peninsula and everything, the bears feed you around there. They don't deplete their reserves, their body fat and everything because they feed year round. And so knowing that, we go out hunting for like the Sitka black-tailed deer and everything. We break up into groups of 2. And as soon as we get off the boat, we're hiking for like maybe 30 minutes. We hear a shot. And we're like, man, that was fast. Like they already got a deer and everything. And come to find out, this group of old man and a like younger 19-year-old were going up stalking this doe, and they shot it, and then they were going to bring it out on a sled, and they saw that there was a Kodiak like watching them, and they're like, well, we don't want to deal with this. We're gonna take and we're gonna like just leave this here. You can have it, and we're gone. And so they start walking off. The bear keeps stalking them as they're coming back towards the boat. And, you know, like you say, don't run from a bear. You know, you play dead or you make noise or whatever you need to do, but you run from them, the prey flight kind of situation, the bear's going to outrun you. I mean, it's just it's going to happen.
I saw Anthony Hopkins outpace one easily last night.
That guy's like 60-something.
2 or 3 times, too.
Yes.
2 or 3 times.
You see him jump. Did you see Hopkins jump off that like embankment, by the way, that was just so fucking steep and just rolled heads over heels? And Baldwin
like a
was slow to get
long
up.
distance runner.
Baldwin's stuntman was a little slow to get up. Hopkins' stuntman is like, ah, and like he's fucking Superman.
So,
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. So Well, you know that a lot of people say from time to time, "Oh, well, I don't have to worry about it. I just need to be faster of a runner than you." And that actually happened. As soon as the bear closed in about 100 yards, it went into a charge, and the older guy, I'm not going to say his name in case for some reason he ever listens to this, takes off sprinting, just bolting, and the younger kid's like, "What the fuck, dude?" Like, and they're like, the old guy just discharged his bolt action rifle, right? So he probably didn't have one in the chamber. The kid did. So he gets down on his knee and waits for it to close into about 25 yards and shoots it right up underneath the head and drops it.
That's
drops
awesome.
it. And
Wow.
so we've got our walkies, and we go over there to find out what's going on. Dude, you shot a bear. That's illegal as fuck. Dude. Like, you go to jail for that, like, for a long time. And they're like, no. Look, our deer is like way over there. The dude like just charges like, well, what do you mean you had to shoot it? Like, where's I don't want to say his name, but where's he at? He's like, he's gone.
He's still fucking running.
and like the Alaska Fish and Game's like, really strict about that. If you kill an animal in self-defense, you have to, like, especially a bear, like a bear, you have to like skin it and take its head off and check that in, because they don't want people selling that illegally and everything. And it meant the whole time he was just like taking his time, making sure everything was nice and neat. And I was like, dude, why? I mean, like, you just killed this bear out of self-defense. Just like, do your duty and let's go. But
sorry, everybody just dropped me.
No, but so that, I mean, I've heard a lot of people say that in the past. They were like, "Oh no, don't worry about it. I can outrun you, all right," and just shoot you in the leg and then leave you or something like that. And like the fact that it literally happened was just it completely blew my mind. It's like, you're a jackass, man. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just offer like support? Just like chamber another one or something and shoot at the bear too. But I guess
man for himself.
That's easy to say on a podcast. Like, it's hard. Like, I would be shameless. I would trick children, women, the infirm, anyone to get away from a bear. I'd like point it out and be like, "Hey, mom, look at that!" Just to get out.
I shot the bear in self-defense, and I shot Woody's leg. It's self-defense in a way, self-preservation. I shot Woody as self-preservation.
You have bear mace too, so it's like, I mean, why not just start spraying that around and then like let him shoot or something? I mean, just running and leaving somebody like that is kind of a jerk move.
You never
had a gun and a bear was coming at me, and I had the bear mace too. I would aim it with the gun and be like, you know what, this isn't right, and then like take out the bear mace. Fuck that. I'm gonna be like, no, I'm gonna kill that thing.
So I was just gonna say, what he was just talking about. My cousin, my dad, and I all have an expression between us. It's never leave a man behind. You never leave a man behind. You just don't. And we use it because we've all had these instances in our lives where we thought we had a friend, but it turned out we had someone who enjoyed being around us a little bit. Like in a situation where it's like, all right, looks like we're in a fight now. It's like, actually, Kyle, you're in a fight. Good luck. Like, the kind of friend who would jump in a fight is a real friend. And we always talk about how none of us almost ever have one who's legit ready to do that for us.
A fight with a person or a bear?
A person. But the same is true. Like, if I was there with the three of you and a bear was charging, I would stick in a group. No, I would prefer that. I would
be the friend you wanted me to be. I swear to God, I would.
I would prefer that all four of us got cut up a little, then one of us died, and maybe we could accomplish that with some pointy sticks and rocks.
Yeah, can you imagine being the person who has to like tell their family, be like, "Dude, sorry, he couldn't outrun a fucking bear."
How did you make it? Well, I was a runner in high school.
Yeah, the bear like Kyle. He's a little sweeter than me.
That's shitty. You can't leave a man. Oh. Well, Bobby was tastier. What can I say?
Yeah, right.
That'd be shitty.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take you to court, like, to decide if it was self-defense or not. Like, how does that happen with a bear?
I honestly, I
Who represents
don't
the
know.
bear?
Yeah, they have some
Yeah,
guy.
I honestly-
Smokey never had a history of violence, and yet
I-
you're saying. Like,
Well,
doesn't
I
make
think they do that to take the incentive out of shooting a bear, right? So if you shoot one in self-defense, you have to give them the fur and everything. You're not keeping any of it. So what's the incentive to kill one unless it's a nuisance or like attacking you, or because they're the ones who profit from it. The fish
Yeah.
and game do, not you. So that's the only thing that I could see from it.
Okay.
That was a good story.
Yeah, it was.
Hey, yeah, that was a good story.
Better
Kyle,
than a tiger just like.
there's story time with Kyle. Did you do anything today, Kyle? Leading question.
Yeah. Yeah, we filmed I filmed
you
a video
texting
today.
right
We
now?
did think... Yes.
He's
A little
either
bit.
texting or using the back-facing camera to take pictures of his junk right now.
Why do you always go to that? Like that's a thing I do a lot or something. You're just like,
Oh my
"Oh,
God!
it's a
Don't you
dick."
pretend it's
Like,
not.
just because you can't see just because you can't see my penis doesn't mean it's like always out and like flopping around.
We've gone over this
Like-
like 100
like
times.
I-
You don't retake nude pics. You
Yeah,
get a good
that
one, and you
too.
stick with it.
Like absolutely, yeah. You get to get 2 or 3 classics and you're good to go.
No,
But-
no. I am sure that 2 classics is not enough to satisfy Kyle's sexting habit. It's
I
not.
don't have a sexting habit.
He has a sexting. Okay. Next time we're in person, can I see your phone?
Absolutely
No!
not.
Absolutely not. And it's not just the
No
pictures
phone.
that have been sent to him, it's the pictures that he sends to them. It's an adult phone. There's all
It's
kinds
an
of shit.
adult phone.
I like
Yeah.
when Kyle would include me in his sexting with chicks.
I-
Like he would just relay all the pictures as soon as they sent them.
Now
Like,
that is not true.
That's not true. We don't say that.
That is a lie, sir. That is a bold-faced lie that you are telling. Don't listen to him, ladies.
That is,
keep
yeah, that is
Right.
not true. Hey, ladies, none of you are on here naked. None. None.
Yeah,
But
don't listen
I
to
was
his
gonna
lies.
say something.
No one believes you. You look like an owl.
Oh, the adult phone.
Hey.
I remember. My wife wanted to like use my computer and show Hope something on it, right? Because I got this little Mac or whatever, and I'm like, no, and she's like, why not? I'm like, you don't touch a man's laptop. That's just the rule. This is a man's laptop. There's shit on there you don't need to see. Period.
No.
So yeah, what I did today is what you were asking. I made a video today, and there was a part where I wanted to shoot a beer keg that was already full of beer. So I went to the liquor store. Well, I sent somebody to the liquor store, and they came back with a keg of beer, and we shot it full of holes. And then I thought it would be funny, and all this is on video. I'm gonna upload all this. I thought it'd be funny if I tried to return the beer keg and get my deposit back. And I think it's only fair that I show you what the beer keg looks like before I tell the rest of the story. So it's 2 feet away. I'm gonna grab it and show it to the camera.
I bet it's not in very good shape.
I wouldn't bet against that. That's a surety. Is surety a word? I think it is. Oh my.
You can hear the bullets in it.
So what happened? Did they give you the deposit?
I think we just confirmed he's not wearing pants.
I'm wearing fucking shorts.
Just
Why
It
saying.
looks
so
like nurse's
concerned?
pants.
They're fucking basketball shorts.
Don't judge
you
me.
asshole.
What kind of beer? That's what everyone always asks. What kind of beer was it?
Natural light.
O'Doul's.
Natural light, the cheapest. It was the keg was $180 with the deposit. Of course, you get none of that back. But it's cool, but it's a cool target. So I got Chad and Eric. They follow me in with a camera. I'm mic'd up, and it's 3 chicks that work at the liquor store. There's a brunette, a blonde, and a slightly heavier brunette who had like the biggest tits ever, like F's. They'd already been described to me. They'd already told me, they were like, there's a chick at the liquor store with like some F titties. So I was like, all right, well, we gotta go to the liquor store then. Let's go to the liquor store. So I walk in there with a keg, and I'm and I walk up to the counter, and I go up to the good-looking brunette chick, and I'm just like, I bought this beer about 2 hours ago, and something's wrong with the keg. We tried to tap it, it didn't work out, and I got kind of frustrated. What can I say? I need more beer, or I need my deposit. I don't know, defective. And she's just like, you're not getting your deposit back. What did you do? Do this. I was trying to get some beer, and she's just, no, how? With what? Eventually I resort to machine gun, and she's just like, she's like, is this a prank? She's like, why are there cameras? I was like, the cameras follow me everywhere. Don't worry about the cameras. And she bought that. Like, maybe I'm on a reality show or something. I'm like, the cameras are always there. Don't worry. And she's just like, oh, okay, and continues on. And she calls like the entire staff over there, and I'm arguing with all of them about wanting this deposit back. And finally, I'm like, maybe could you give me like a 12-pack of beer? Maybe we'll call it even. And she's like, no, we're not giving you a 12-pack of beer. So finally, we came clean that we were fucking with them and everything. And we left, and I took the keg outside, and I was packing everything up in the car. And the heavyset brunette comes outside and says the hot blonde chick wants my number. So I went inside and hooked up with the hot blonde chick. So we added another member to the team.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was a good day. Shot some machine guns, and blew some stuff up, and
so now
got a
Kyle
girl.
has 2 girlfriends. If you're out here listening, it's just you and that one other. See,
Where are you getting those numbers from?
I just want whoever else to think there's not that many.
Oh. Well,
Yeah.
I just fucked that up, huh?
Yeah. If you're dating Kyle, it's just you and this one new one.
I am only dating one girl right now. I'm only 2. I'm only dating 2 girls right now. Like actually going on dates and stuff to places. So that's not too bad.
Where do you go?
One of them.
Where do I go?
Yeah.
Like on a
I'm always
date?
curious about that. Like, what is your date?
It's boring.
a
Like
great
sometimes
question.
like if the girl likes guns, we'll go shoot some machine guns, and like something that to me is just like, yeah, so I got an AUG here. You want to shoot this machine gun? They're just like, holy shit, it's the greatest experience of my life. So like that's always cool because that's like a super cheap date that like is like a really cool thing for them. But
Until
like,
she goes through 15 magazines.
yeah.
Teach her how to load. She'll
My
top off
girl
at 2.
hopped on the 50. We were at my house the other day, and I had that Desert Tactical 50 cal, and I was like, who wants to shoot the 50 cal? And it was like Woody and my other friend and my girlfriend, and Woody shot it. My other friend wouldn't shoot it, and I was like, honey, you want to shoot this thing? She's like, fuck yeah! Like went over there. She got on that thing quick and shot it. She never shot one before. I was pretty proud of her.
She weighs like
pretty cool.
100 pounds.
Yeah,
and she was happy to shoot it.
Yeah, took it like
awesome.
a champ.
Off a bipod, but still.
Yeah, I don't think she could hold it.
Right. It's,
Oh, Woody, grab your rifle and show Richard. I bet he'd be interested in this thing.
I'd be happy to.
What is it?
I was just thinking of rifles that you couldn't hold standing.
It's upstairs, so it'll take about 60 seconds. Hold on. I'll be right back.
It's made out of solid iron. Lead.
Lead.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
It's
Lead?
I think it's 42 pounds.
Wow.
You got a some sort of big bull-barreled 50 BMG sniper
Oh wow.
off of I think he got it off Gunbroker.
There's like no like free floating barrel or brake on it or anything. It's just like,
No, it's got a big break on it.
does it?
Yeah, it's laminated stock, and I think the bipod probably weighs 4 or 5 pounds. You'll see.
Wow.
It was he said something about whoever the company was that made him, the guy who owned the company, like that was his private one that he had made for himself. It's
What
a
did
cool
you get rid of
looking
it for?
I think he died. I think he died or had a debilitating illness, and it was on Gunbroker, and he picked it up for pretty
Nice.
cheap.
So Woody lucked out.
Yeah.
Man's disaster. Another man's wildly impractical gun.
Yeah, I'm
Did
looking
you
forward to
remember-
get. I was just gonna say I want to get Woody over to my house, and I want to shoot the Desert Tactical against his rifle and see who can shoot a better group at like 500. I think that'll be fun
Yeah.
because he's got a rifle that can really do it too.
With the a 50 or just a rifle in general that he
Well, that's a 50 that he's got. Yeah, I'd like to do it with a 50. Are you going to that shoot down here at the end of the month?
I freaking really want to, but I think I will be at Seahoy Tactical during that time. I'm doing a thing for Xbox, blowing up some stuff for SourceFed and
Cool.
Sunset Overdrive. Like they want to, like they have like a school bus that they're calling like a mutant transportation vehicle. I don't know if you saw it at E3 or not. They're wanting to blow the mutant transportation vehicle up and some other stuff. So I'm like, I really want to go to that shoot because I missed it last year too. So I'm like, I really want to go like hang out with everyone and stuff. So
yeah, I think we're definitely gonna go. I mostly want to go.
So close for you. Why wouldn't you?
Do you know how much tannerite's being brought down? A ton.
No clue.
A literal ton. 2,000 pounds. We got 2,000 pounds of tannerite.
Oh God.
Yeah.
It looks like a BioShock gun.
Oh, and the
Right?
plan? Oh, the plan is to do the biggest tannerite explosion on YouTube. They're going to do 500 pounds.
Oh God.
I don't know who's setting that off.
I can't shoulder
Yeah.
it.
From how far?
I've tried.
250 be safe for anything, just about.
I don't know why I keep like looking. I'm like,
What is that thing, Woody? What's it called?
Hold on.
Like at first when I saw him doing all this, I thought Woody's really getting weak. But like then I saw that it weighs 42 pounds, and I don't know if that
48 or
counts.
something, I think.
48?
It's heavy. It's heavy.
That's crazy.
It's like trying to shoulder an 8-foot-long piece of rebarb.
It's I think it's possible. I think like I can't shoulder it. I really can't. But
I don't think you'd want to, right? There's like, aside from the brake, there's no like recoil compensation for that.
right.
No,
there's
Like
just
with
the
a Barrett,
muzzle
you got a
brake.
free floating barrel, and like, you know, it's not as difficult.
Well, you know,
as
he wants the
people think,
hero
but-
shot. He wants to.
Dude, it's so heavy. How much recoil compensation do you need?
That's true,
Yeah.
but still, like that 50 is like throwing out a lot of gas. I mean, like I did that M2 handheld, and that thing's 50 pounds. But the way I was holding it, like, you know, the spade on the bottom of it, and like a handheld grip, like what the Rock had for GI Joe. I mean, that's 50 pounds, right? You'd think that would hold it. No, that thing just wants to go whack,
Really?
like that. Yeah, the trick to that was. Because it cycles so fast and you can't manage it, you put 2 live rounds in it and that's it.
What gun are we
Because
talking about?
the M2,
Is that the
It's-
one that shoots the? Did you use it in a video?
yeah, it shoots. I mean, it's 50 BMG. It shoots like mils like M33 ball ammo and stuff like that. It'll shoot slap T and stuff like that, but.
Yeah, so that it's a
yeah.
State Arms. It's a big Bertha, but it's like a custom one with it's like a bigger barrel, and the bipod is really heavy. I think that's where a lot of the weight is coming from. It has some sort of like
That's
extra
sick.
built bipod. It's quite the gun. You shoot it off prone, but
Yeah.
yeah.
You need to
How
come
many
over
of those are there?
How many of them are there?
There's only
Yeah,
one like that.
Yeah,
Right?
There's one
That's
exactly like
awesome.
that.
I was saying, like, when you stepped away, I want you to get over here, and I want to get our 50 cals out and shoot it like 400 or 500 yards and see who's got the more accurate rifle.
Oh, I give it a go. You know,
I think it'd be fun.
yeah, I think it'd be fun too.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if it's yours. That's a nice rifle.
yeah, that's sick.
Wait, what was that last thing? I missed it.
Oh, I said I wouldn't be surprised at all if it's yours. That's a nice rifle.
Yours is nice too. I'm
know,
not sure whose would be better. It'd be.
Have you done a video on it,
You talking about me?
Woody? Yeah.
No, not yet. Not yet. I
You
have a
should.
new channel
Yeah, I
where I
wanna
want to
check that
do
out.
some more shooting stuff.
Well, yeah, Woody's making a new channel, and he's gonna do some gun stuff. And tell us what your channel is.
So the channel is Woody's Lab, and the idea is it was going to be kind of a mix between like a Mythbusters and FPS Russia, and to be honest, especially with some of your more recent stuff, I really like a lot of what you've done. That overlay you do with the black and the B-roll and the voiceover is,
Yeah.
I like that so much. Most of the ideas that I come up with are straight up stealing it.
Dude, I don't care. Like, here's the thing. Like, a lot of people get weird about that stuff. I care less. I mean, like I think that only pushes people creatively. I mean,
One thing that was going to be a little different than you're doing now is like a Mythbusters part of it. You know how on Mythbusters oftentimes they'll be like, we're going to try this. And you're like, here's step A, and if A is cool, then A times 2 will be cool, and A times 3 will be even cooler. And but there's been elements of that to your videos, lately too. I'm trying to remember some of the examples, but I don't know. Like, well, heck, I don't know if it's lately, but when you drop the iMac or the iMac Pro, whatever, not the Mac Pro in the water, and then you blow it up. And I want to say with some of the iPhone stuff, you'll do like a little test and a bigger test, and that was one of the elements I wanted to do in my videos a lot. Like, here, whatever, this is a proof of concept, and then this is it on a grander scale. And the idea is my lab is outside, and we're gonna test stuff. Sometimes it'll be chemical reactions, sometimes it'll be gunplay, sometimes it'll be something else, and I'm kind of looking forward to it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like that was the whole premise of like what I really don't get me wrong, there was like some architectural design and like the show concepts and stuff that I did when I initially started making videos, but when I sit back and I look at it, like my channel is very selfish for me. It's like if I wanted to like focus on like growth and doing things a textbook way, it would be like I'd focus on like the tech destruction stuff, or I would focus solely on the gun stuff. But for me, like RatedRR is like it's for a way for me to keep my sanity while I do other YouTube stuff.
That part of it. I'm sorry to cut you, but like for Woody's Lab, but kind of like you, I want to make videos that I really want to make. Right? Like I would have a great time. I don't want to give away some of my video ideas. Not that I'm afraid they'd be stolen. I'm recording this right now.
Have a great time if you made a black powder ballista that shot 4-foot-long wooden dowel sharpened to a point with accurately at like 200 meters that would pierce plate armor. We should make that. Let's make that. We're gonna make that.
Kyle, by the way, like there's a Woody's Lab subreddit. I went and registered everything. Like I could go on and on. Here I will. I got Instagram, I got Vine, I got YouTube, I got Twitter, I got Facebook, I got a subreddit, I got the subreddit username, I got I can't even think of it all.
You got Foursquare. You got
I got that MySpace locked down for you. Don't worry.
I looked at GeoCities. It just rickrolls you. I looked at I locked down every social media site and got like with the Woody's Lab branding, to be mine. Oh, .net, .com, .org.
Wow.
So anyway, but I lost my train of thought on all the branding stuff. But I'm very excited about making videos that where I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh, dude, today's going to be awesome.
We were talking about I was joking about making the ballista, the black powered.
Is that what I was leading into? I don't want to talk about our first video ideas too much.
That's not our first. I just made that one up.
Yeah. No, I was talking about Kyle. So some people were like, hey, it seems like Woody and Kyle are doing this together. Kyle has so many video ideas that they're not even precious to him. He could come up with 10 in the next 15 minutes and they will be good. I get a good video idea. I write it down I've got this special notebook filled with video ideas because they don't come that often to me like they do to him. And I'm like, all right, I got to write this down, write some notes. I can review it. People have seen my YouTube ideas tab on my browser because I show it now and then. Like when I get an idea for something to talk about, like I note it down so I don't lose it. Kyle, he comes up with those. They have no value to him. He has so many good ideas for videos that he's happy to be like, yeah, we can do this one for you and this other one for me and this and that. And it's like, damn, he's an endless. Now I'm getting a little too gushy.
No, keep going. No, keep going. I don't think you've really explained
so
it.
Cute.
So you had to rate my idea, man status.
How much do you like his ideas?
Where between? Am I on a Zuckerberg level yet, or am I not above? Like, where am I for you?
I swear, it starts at a 10, and then he'll come back with other ideas, like well, shucks. I guess I could spoil this. And Kyle made a prototype potato gun on PKN, If you guys aren't Patreon members, we lowered the price of Painkiller Nearly from 25 to 10 to make it cheaper, and you get the visuals. Kyle was blowing the arms off of a mannequin in the last Painkiller Nearly with a potato gun that is merely a prototype for what will eventually show up on Woody's lab. And then he's like, I was at Home Depot and we could do this, and I saw this attachment, and he had other ideas that took his ideas from a 10 to an 11. So there's the answer to your question.
Thank you.
That's awesome though. That's the stuff that you have to do. You have to be in that kind of thought process to be able to keep your sanity. I feel like, because if you're focusing on just obsessing on one thing here or there, then you'll drive yourself nuts. You'll go crazy. And that's why you talk about my channel, people what the fuck is this wingsuiting stuff that you're doing? It's I'm doing it because I enjoy it, bro. It's rated RR. That's me. That's me. That's what you want to go see. You want to see guns? Go to youtube.com/guns. Go check it out. That's what this is for me. And if
do people know your first and last name?
I used to say it all the time. I used to say it I'm Richard Ryan. Welcome to RatedRR.
Okay.
This week's episode, whatever it is. But
man's not gifted with secrets. Now I'm trying to keep it tight. I used to say, "Hey, I'm Richard Ryan," but now
not anymore.
I'm done with
Tight. Don't down low. I had this whole thing happen. It was dark. It was really dark. So now no one knows.
Anyway, rated RR is Richard Ryan. Richard Ryan. That's the deal.
So. But going back to your original point, though, I think that's super, super important, though. I think if you see something that inspires you to do something, go do it. Because, that creative drive is what's going to keep you happy, right? Because, I shot a PlayStation 4 with a 50 cal, and it did really well for my views. It was 2 to 4 million views or whatever. And then I did this Xbox video where I really put a lot of time into it. I wanted to race a 50 cal bullet and det cord so it impacts the console at the exact same time. So there was a lot of math, and I had to use the slow-mo camera to paint a 2x6 and mark out the distance in feet and everything in inches, and see what the delay is from the blasting cap when the bullet's passing, how fast it's it's very kind of heady.
Too much effort.
a lot of effort, but it was something that was challenging for me, right? So I put a lot of time into it, and I guess a lot of people, it might go over their heads, or it might be too long or too thorough, or what, it's not shareable, and it didn't do a fraction of what the PS4 stuff did. So I was whatever. I mean, I did it for me, and the fact that some of my core viewers really appreciate it, that's the only people I really care about. I don't care if some of those videos don't go 50 million views. I mean,
it's also just the nature of YouTube. You can make a really poignant, cogent video about politics, something really you put a lot of thought into, and 5 people might watch and be like, yeah, this guy's onto something. But then a video of a baby puppy farting in a bathtub will get 51 million views. Which I don't blame. I'd rather watch that than some douche on the internet talk about politics.
Yeah.
We never really talked about the movie, did we? We kind of just got on a track about bears.
Yeah.
I tried. That's how we got. I started talking about how ferocious the bear was and the claws and such, and then we got on the bears.
Well, what did you? I thought it was really good. I didn't like how he saved Alec Baldwin from the spike pit. Spoilers. Don't listen to 30 seconds ago if you haven't seen the movie. But I just didn't. I didn't like that. I thought it was really good poetic justice that he fell in that pit.
I don't think that's how spoiler alerts work. I think
you'll get blamed for it.
That's my branding if you're curious about it.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah, that'll be at the top of the channel and on thumbnails and stuff.
I love the Tesla coil.
I'm glad you recognized it. Not everybody does.
Well, I've been trying to work on a few different things that really I don't know, again, it's kind of like the Xbox thing. What I wanted to do is sometimes on the breakdown I'll take and recreate elements of movies and video games, and a lot of people are like, oh, so-and-so paid for that. This is obvious product. No, a lot of it's just me having a good time. And one of the things I wanted to do was around electricity and guns. And I wanted to take and build the Elysium gun. You know how it shoots the the bullets or whatever with electricity and everything. And like I saw a few people who tried to do like the props, but never did anything live fire.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things I was wanting to build is like a mock-up of the gun, and then put like maybe taser electrodes and
Just
stuff
curious,
like that at the end of it.
Do you have an FFL?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm a manufacturer of ammunition, firearms. I have the SOT letter of clearance to manufacture machine gun suppressors. I have a FEL for manufacturing explosives and stuff. So,
want to call that out there for you guys at home thinking about making machine guns. You got to have all those letters that he just had.
Oh yeah.
Don't put it on YouTube.
Yeah, that stuff gets, the laws and stuff like that. Sometimes those people in charge, they get upset when you do things like that. But no, I do it I don't manufacture for production per se. Like I don't sell to like law enforcement, military, or anything like that. I make it for entertainment purposes. So, but yeah, so I really want to make one of those guns and like put those electrodes at the end of it and like film it in slow motion. And like if it's like, I'd rather use a larger caliber, like 50 BMG or something like that. That way you have like a larger, projectile going through the electrodes, and I want to see if the bullets will arc off of it. I'll probably do something with a Tesla coil in the beginning and just shoot by a Tesla coil to see if it arcs off of it, and then we'll build off of that into the gun and everything. But yeah, man, I get into that. I geek out on like the science stuff and like, well, even tracking point, like the stuff that they're doing with their ballistic solutions and stuff like that. I love mixing the tech and the stuff that we do.
Is Tracking Point the one that makes that Linux gun?
I think it's.
They have it like you can't pull the trigger unless you're on target. And
yes. Is it Linux?
I thought I read on Ars Technica about it that it was a Linux-based gun.
I honestly, I probably shouldn't even like speculate because I don't know. I know it works with Android and stuff like that. It pairs with them, but
yeah, it is the gun you're thinking of that does the ballistic calculations for you.
Yeah.
I can't rest until I find out
if it's Linux or not.
Yeah.
I actually just got back today from they invited me out to Phoenix to go out there they have a new product coming out in October that they're going to be launching, and I'll try not to break any NDAs here. We had a really good time out there filming with it, and I was like, I'm kind of honored that you guys like asked me to come out here and check out new product, but in a way I'm kind of insulted because it's like you have like this huge pool of people from the special operations community, and you have all these like world-class competitive shooters that you could invite to come out here and everything. And someone made the comment, they're like, oh, well, you have like slow-mo cameras and like, like a lot of subscribers. Like, no, they didn't ask for any of that stuff. They didn't ask for me to promote it. They didn't ask for me they just wanted me to come out there and film my reaction to the stuff. And I was like, what they're really doing is they're getting like the world's worst shooter out there to prove that their system actually works. Because if I can hit something moving, then
I was wondering where the insult came from. I was like, oh, I'm seeing the crowd that you're keeping it. Now I see. Oh, it is a Linux powered rifle. I found the article.
Oh, awesome! Very cool. Do you program or anything?
I did. I worked. I have a master's degree in computer science, and I worked for Cisco for like 15 years, but I don't code much anymore. Last 5 years.
Have you ever fooled around with like Arduino or any of that?
No.
I feel like there's so many things that I want to do as far as like videos and stuff. We'll find hopefully I'm not like throwing stuff out there. You're like, no, save that stuff, save it. But one of the things I want to do, like I don't care if it's like on my own or with somebody, is one thing I've been working on. Like this kid reached out to me when they did the SDK for Xbox Connects with the first generation. He started doing stuff with their Kinect and drones, and this was like 2011, so this is before DJI and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 3D robotics, working with Arduino platform stuff, and so he like hooked this stuff up, like just fully autonomous, like following him using the Kinect with motion tracking and everything, and it had sonar sensors on the sides of it, so it would ping off of the wall and everything and follow him from his bedroom into his living room without touching the walls and stuff. It's some crazy stuff. So
that's
like
pretty cool.
I'm wanting to work with some programmers who are familiar with the SDK for the second generation of the Kinect. Because I want to do facial recognition detonation. So when you walk into a room, it'll be like, oh, hey, what's going on? Hi, Brad. And then like it'll be like, oh, hi, Richard. Boom. So
right.
there's all these.
You're educated. Lay it out. What do you got? What's your educational background? We want to know.
Some college.
Really?
Yeah. I am a college dropout.
Nice. Yeah. A lot of the best are.
Yeah,
So explain to us how you do the things you do then, because I've seen some of your videos require like electrical engineering, it seems, and programming. Where did you pick those skills up?
So it's funny. I was talking about this the other day. Was I feel really fortunate in that I wasn't fortunate growing up. In some ways, I had a roof over my head. I had food on the table and everything. Don't get me wrong. I was in no way, shape, or form deprived, but I didn't live in a lap of luxury or anything like that. So I really I was forced to work for anything that I wanted, like that wasn't a bare necessity. And one of the things, like a car, and it's like, hey, you want to be driving? We get you this car. It doesn't run. But if you want to learn, here's this Haynes manual, and like from an early age, it was like very ingrained in me. Like if you want something, you're gonna have to work and do this and be able to figure it out for yourself, because it's not going to be given to you, and you're not going to be able to afford to get it. So I did that with like film editing and everything, pretty much everything somewhat self-taught. And when I was in college, I felt like. And please don't take this the wrong way, anybody who's listening. And like when I was in college, I felt like I was going through the gears, like just the motion of like, all right, I'm going to go get that piece of paper, and it didn't feel like the classes that I was taking, because I didn't feel like it was applicable in my goals in life. I mean, there were things here and there, like far as like social lessons and stuff like that you learn, but it didn't really feel like I was building on a platform to learn from what I wanted to do. So. I decided to drop out, and because I wanted to work within the entertainment industry, and I just said, screw it, this isn't going to work for me. I'm going to move to Los Angeles. I'm going to start working on that, and then that's how I got in the whole YouTube thing after a while, and then it came back to everything back home and everything. But yeah, so yeah, long story longer.
I would totally.
Impressive, dude.
I like more impressive now.
Knowing a couple of your videos, and this takes a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Seems like.
Well, I mean, I do, like, don't get me wrong. I have people who like definitely help out, like the drone stuff. I mean, I'm just a motivated individual. We built this drone, like fully autonomous, to drop 5-pound bombs to detonate at proximity and everything. And I worked with a programmer for the Arduino chip inside the explosive, so that we could get it to ping off of the ground and everything. I couldn't do all that stuff in 3 months on my own.
Yeah,
but...
I know what those words mean. Yeah, I know what we're talking about.
Some of them.
Yeah. Like if you were like telling me I had to have that same project, my first move would be to like go to a kite store and get some twine and try and rip something. Not like, all right, you got to get this kind of soldering tool for the wires here. You can't make it too hot or whatever the fuck. Like that's really impressive.
Yeah, but it's fun.
Whatever the fuck. So
yeah,
it's fun though. I mean, like, don't you like watch a movie or a video game? You're like, oh man, this is like, I want to do that. I want to see that happen. And like, for me,
everybody wants to. Nobody does it, idiot.
I look at guys.
I have the licenses too, so I do.
That.
Yeah, everyone wants the licenses as well.
Yeah, I'm like, that was the thing. It was like, back in the start of YouTube for me was like, well, I was doing a lot of sketch comedy and acting related stuff with other YouTube channels, and they were like, well, we're in the top 100, we're successful, you should really capitalize off of this and like build your own. And I don't want to take away from you. I don't want to like I'll keep doing what we're doing with you and everything, but I just don't want to like get in on your stuff and compete, I guess you could say. And so I was like, well, I'm gonna do some stuff that I could wake up every morning and be happy doing. It needed to be something somewhat evergreen in like ideas, because like you say, it is taxing to come up with new ideas and stuff like that. And there's constantly new video games, movies, and stuff like that coming out. And I feel like anytime you go to a movie, well, not everyone, but for me, like when I went and watched Transformers, the first one, I was so pumped afterwards. I was like, I gotta see this again, because there's like so many elements in it that are just like really, really cool for me that I wouldn't have thought of something before. And like, I mean, you could even say like How to Train Your Dragon. Like I keep bringing this up to like 20th Century Fox and them. I'm like, hey, you guys ever want to pay for a trip or anything like that? I got a toothless wingsuit. They didn't pay for it or anything. I just made this on my own because I was like so pumped about the movie. It's like, I want to do like a wingsuit rodeo with like cosplayer like riding me and everything. I just like
you made a wingsuit because of How to Train Your Dragon?
Yeah.
Man, that's dedication
normal behavior.
And a little eccentric. That's really impressive.
So how hard is it to be wingsuit flying? I mean, like, so skydiving, what? You could go skydiving as a double today. You could go skydiving solo with maybe a couple weeks and some motivation.
Well, eight hours of ground school, and then you can do your AFF level 1. And actually, this ties in with Kyle. Relativity. He was asking us if like what could you do like for active valor? Like what would be something cool?
I thought you were about to tell me that there was a project where I was going to have to jump out of a plane that I didn't know about. Oh, thank God.
You'd have to make kids do it, so you'd have to do it too.
But I thought you said you wanted to skydive.
I do want to, but I'm also horrified of it.
You hang out of a helicopter.
That was not scary at all.
Dude, you are hanging from a rope. Like there is no reserve. Like
at least there's something to hold on to.
Yeah,
not just sky.
I had the rope, and the way I got over that is I was like, all right, the only way I'm going to do this is if this rope is trusted 100%. There's no point in trusting it 80% because I'm just going to be afraid and possibly dead. I might as well be fearless and possibly dead, like because there's no difference in the long run. So I just enjoyed myself and I had a good time.
I'd even rather be 80% sure in the rope instead of grasping at clouds, like hoping for the best.
Dude, that's all there was to it. It was a fucking rope, It was a climbing rope that big and up 50 feet to a helicopter, and he's banking and stuff. It was the most fun I've ever had in my life.
I'm sweating right now. Just like
I was going woo, like laughing my ass off, like having a great time. He flew over the interstate and banked over the interstate.
That's crazy.
And people were looking up and like looking at me like flying over him, like hanging from a rope. That wasn't scary to me, but that plane thing, like you mentioned, like sweating right now thinking about the chopper. That's what I do with the plane. Like I can feel the blood leave my stomach.
My hands get all clammy just thinking about it.
Just thinking about like I see the door slide open. And I hear like a buzzer go, and I imagine it's like World War II for some reason now. We all got helmets on. Go. Yeah. Like, there's just a row of us going, and like my buddy Jeremy's behind me, tripping over me, pushing me, and I just gotta go, and it's just scary. The idea of like jumping out of the good airplane into the abyss, and
the abyss. We're going to look at it positively. Into the abyss.
Into the wild blue yonder. Let's put it that way.
I would do that in a heartbeat.
Here's the thing, though. Like I feel like it's this way with just about anything. Like if you ride motorcycles, it's the same thing. You should start off cautiously and like really get to trust your equipment. I mean, it's like this with any like relatively dangerous sport. Before you go out balls to the wall, like laying down in corners just 120 miles per hour, you need to understand where your tires are going to break and like the curvature of them, how to properly, like how the CG is on the bike and everything. it's the same thing with skydiving. I didn't when I first started skydiving, I was terrified, and it wasn't until like my level 6 where I had this 105-pound chick, where it's the instability level. She kicks you out of the airplane. You're like supposed to be like in a ball, and then they kick you out of the airplane, and I'm like, I gotta man up because it's like this like small chick is like my instructor for this. So, and then after that, like everything like went really really smooth, and I honestly I really wasn't like really like obsessed with skydiving until like maybe 50 jumps in, when I really started understanding how my body would move and react in different situations. And then as soon as I started wingsuiting, I checked out. I was like, I'm good if I don't skydive again. I love wingsuiting. It's just like it was so hard for me to stay motivated in the early stages of skydiving, because it was something I really didn't trust and I didn't really like understand. And now, like, I obsess about it all the time. It's such a different sensation. Like when you jump out of an airplane skydiving, you're literally right over the drop zone, and you're falling with style. And then with wingsuiting, it's like, oh, the drop zone's like 3 miles over there. You got to fly to it, or if there's like a lot of clouds out, you like carve around them and everything. It's just, it's such an amazing feeling to be able to fly around. It's just
that sounds so stressful. So stressful. I'd rather just jump out and be like, all right, the pilot who's a professional drops me off right here. I'm gonna plummet downward. Hopefully everything goes according to plan, and I'm not just a mess on the ground. With yours, it's like, all right, jump out of here, and then I get to hope I can make it 3 miles over there. So the whole time you're just holding your wingsuit, tensed up. Jesus, come on, I can make it. I can make it. Like, it sounds awful.
Maybe I'm a control freak. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Because when you're no, it's not even that. Not even close. Yeah. I mean, like when I'm flying in a wingsuit, I have a sense of security because I am control of when I deploy my main canopy. And if something goes wrong, there's a problem with it, I can always cut it away and go to my reserve. So I have 2 things that are going to potentially save my life. Whereas if I'm relying on a pilot to like safely land the airplane, like there have been times at the drop zone now, like as you guys being new to skydiving and everything, I don't want to like scare you, but like we've been in an airplane, engine goes out, right? And there's like one engine. And it's like, all right, guys, we're not going up to altitude. Everybody get out. And it's like, okay, cool. Emergency situation. Everyone jumps out, pitch and everything. Everything went fine. He landed the airplane. There was another time where the rubber on the front wheel just completely and like just completely like trashed it. And like to me, the airplane is way scarier than skydiving.
Is it just me, or are skydiving airplanes the crappiest airplanes in the sky? They're always like poorly maintained, like a bunch of chuckleheads own these things. And, like they wanted to start their own business, and there's no like proper airplane mechanics working on it or anything.
They got nicknames. This is Big Steve. He's going to be the pilot today.
They know each other by gamer tags. That's the kind of people they are.
No, I mean like it's hard to be like it's hard to be like just a noob buying an airplane like that, because like the otters that people jump out of, I mean those things cost like $1 million. I mean like coming up with the funds for something like that.
But don't they get them used off Craigslist for $250,000? I mean, I look at these planes break, like cables pop off and stuff like that.
That maybe with the smaller planes. I mean, I'm too ignorant on the subject, but when it comes to the bigger planes and stuff like that, I know that the FAA requires, like, depending on how many hours you have on an engine, it has to be rebuilt. There's different servicing protocol. I think there's inspectors who come out and stuff like that. So I have a lot of confidence. As soon as we get up to like 3,000 feet, I'm like, yeah, man, shit, it's the fan. I'm out the door. Peace, brother.
We'll be fine.
But I mean, like now I actually like flying to Phoenix and everything. Like I was like sweating the whole time because I feel naked without my rig on now, because I jumped so much out of an airplane with like I've jumped probably 600 times in the last couple of years. So I've only flown a handful of times without a rig on. So now I'm like getting on an airplane.
How many regular jumps does it take before you're ready to do a wingsuit?
200. 200. Yeah.
Okay.
How long does that take to get 200?
Depends
Like,
on
many
how
people a
motivated
day?
you are and where you live.
Yeah,
In
that's
Southern
what he told me.
California.
He's like, you could just do like 20 a day and have it in a little while. I'm just like, that would be like the worst 20, like 10,
Yeah.
15 days of my life. Like I'd just be so burnt out after it because I'm
You
jumping
wouldn't
out
be
of a
though.
plane.
You learn so much so fast. People looked at we're like, why are you doing so many hop and pops? The hop and pop is where you like go up to 4,500 feet instead of the full like 12.5 or 13.5, whatever it is, and you jump out of the airplane and you just deploy your main canopy, and we learned so much in like 2 days doing 40 jumps, just 2 rigs going, just having somebody pack the rigs for us and everything, just getting up an airplane going, getting up an airplane and going, because you learn little things about your canopy and how to pilot it that it just makes your learning curve is so steep at that point. It's really invaluable. I mean, it's like being ultra current. I mean, it's like, you know, professional drivers, racers or whatever, like spend their week driving on a racetrack, whereas like if you were to do it like once or twice a month, you wouldn't be nearly as good as if you were like really tried to crank out and do as much as you could in a short period of time. It really helps with the learning.
How much would it
Hop and
cost
Pop
to do?
is a really disingenuous name for what they're doing.
What's it cost to do 20 jumps in a day?
Just doing a quick
What's
depth
that?
plummet.
What does it cost to do 20 jumps in a day?
Depending on where you are, you can buy bulk tickets. Hop and Pops are cheaper than full altitude rides. Say about $22 to $25 per jump. So
Okay. So if you do 20 of them, someone help me. Is that $500?
$440 if $22, right?
Oh, I was okay. For some reason, I had $25 in my head, but you're right. All right. So 440, and then 440 a day for 10 days. You're at roughly $4,500.
No.
And
it's not cheap. It's not cheap by no means. I mean, like
No, it
a lot of
isn't.
people. Well, that's actually the inexpensive part. You got to look at it this way though too. This is the equipment that you buy is a life-saving device. So when I see people trying to haggle people on prices or like really like buy like super old equipment, I'm like, really? That's what your life is worth? $1,500? I mean,
It's like haggling with a doctor over medicine. Nah, it's all the same.
You got any
you gotta get like
antibiotics?
you gotta get like quadruple bypass surgery or something. I don't even know. They're like, well, you know what? Take my spleen. We'll call it even, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't do that.
I don't need surgical string. Just use some yarn from, somewhere. No big deal. Go to Pottery Barn, fix me up.
So it's relatively expensive. I mean, it's like your rig, your container, your main canopy, your reserve, your AAD, which measures your fall rate, and if at a certain altitude you haven't deployed your main, you're still in free fall, it'll deploy your reserve. A lot of people don't realize that that's like a safety device. So if you get knocked unconscious on your exit out of the airplane, it'll automatically deploy it for you and whatnot. But that stuff is about anywhere from $6,500 to $8,500 just to get going into it as far as your equipment's concerned. That's not training.
That's crazy.
See, that's pretty expensive, Richard. I could get my pilot's license and put a down payment on a plane for that.
Yeah, but yeah.
It is expensive. You're talking about 15 grand. And we haven't bought a wingsuit yet. When are we going to be able to jump out with wingsuits and not use a parachute? Because that seems cool.
In theory, like these guys are like really like well, Gary Connery, he landed in a runway of boxes without deploying his parachute. I mean,
What?
Close.
It feels like one of his kids came up with it.
That's still pretty cool. Like, he jumped out of the sky and he landed in the box.
I think I've seen it.
He started in a fucking airplane.
I don't know why cardboard boxes are used so often as like the brake fall device, because it's
Better than nothing.
It's all they can afford after the goddamn wingsuit.
But like I picture a big like bouncy castle as being a wonderful thing to land into, right? Like, but a really big bouncy castle, or some sort of enormous memory pillow, right? That sounds like a good thing to land into. But they choose cardboard boxes, and the corners are hard, right?
Yeah. Well, it cut the crap out of you too. If you like the edges and stuff, but
yeah,
have you seen those the ski? I acrobat. I'm like my vocabulary on it's like horrible, but like the Olympic guys who like do the huge downhill ski
Yeah, the speed
thing.
jumps or whatever.
But it's
Yeah,
not
and
just
they,
the
like,
distance
they
one.
do
You're talking about the ones that do
stunts.
stunts. Yeah. I forget the name of it.
And so to practice during the summer months and stuff, they go down
Into a
the
lake.
same ramps, but into like a huge pool. And so the pools have all these bubbles that come up, and they break the surface tension of the water, so they can get crazy like high up in the air and not have to worry about hurting themselves.
The surface
Have you
tension's
seen
not
that?
the big deal. I understand. I don't. So I was a swimmer and I swam with all these divers, and competitive divers sometimes they have bubbles, like you said. Sometimes they just have these sprinklers, and the big difference is if the water's flat, it's really difficult to spot the distance, because you're kind of seeing right through it to the bottom of the pool. So they have sprinklers or bubbles, and you know exactly where the surface of the water is. You can spot it and land it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the thing. Because
I never even thought about that.
You can imagine a really still pool. Like if you're spinning in the air, you can't spot where the splash happens. You just like you won't miss the pool, but you won't know where to have your feet land or where you have your head land.
Huh.
So that's why they make the pool like visible.
See, that just like kind of killed something for me, because I was like, oh, you know what? You get a massive pool for somebody and just like put a bunch of bubbles in it, like have the jets just go right before he hits the water, and it's all good. It's all good. He might drown, but he won't die from the impact.
Yeah, because the
That's how you
divers
look
will
at
like extend when they're in the right position and such,
Huh.
so they don't belly flop.
So I want to know just like quick synopsis of your first jump ever. Like, what was going through your head? Were you super excited? Not the first wingsuit, like the first time jumping out of a plane. Were you excited or just like so nervous and people behind you and you're like, I don't want to look like I'm pansying out or anything? Because that's what I feel like I would be thinking.
So here's I'll start by saying that everybody's different. For me, it played in my favor that I've never done a tandem jump before. I've never gone skydiving before. I've never looked outside of an airplane with the door open in flight. And so I like stuff like that would just terrify me. So the fact that I did my very first jump as AFF level 1 really, 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 really helped me out a lot, because I had to go through 8 hours of the ground school. I was very, very focused on like, oh man, if I fuck this up, I'm gonna have to do it again. So I didn't even really think about the jump. I was like, all right, I'm at this point. I need to do this. I need to check my altimeter. I need to check in with this dude. I was so focused on the busy work that I didn't really have time to freak out about it. And because once I go into that kind of work mode, I'm super focused. So I just kind of had to man up. And if I had done a tandem jump, probably I would have psyched myself out, because when you do a tandem jump, the only work that you have to do is like make sure you arch, tilt your head back, and then that's it. And the whole time you're like, oh, is this dude gonna pull or what? Yeah. What's going on? And like for AFF level 1, I have like a reserve side and a main side instructor holding on to me to help keep me stable, and then I'm doing all my busy work and everything, and before I know it, it's over with. So by the time I'm cleared solo, I've done it so many times and had to accomplish so many things in my lessons that it really it was nice. Like I psyched myself out more before I actually did it, and afterwards I was like, oh, okay. I mean, don't get me wrong, it still could kill you. I mean, driving to the airport, you could get in a car accident and die too. It's just just understanding your equipment, what you need to do, and don't get too cocky.
Yeah, I'll still never do it, but it's interesting hearing your stories.
Well, I want no part of that.
It's not for everybody. It's really not, and I didn't think it would be for me either. I mean, I'm generally I'm a sissy, man. I work construction. I worked 5 jobs when I moved out to LA. One of them was a foreman for a residential high-rise developer, and we built this 28-story building next to the Staples Center, and I was terrified as soon as the building started getting up in floors, because then I had to walk out to the ledges and have this safety wire on, and I'm terrified of heights. And honestly, that's way worse to me than the skydiving, because when you're skydiving, you're looking down at the ground and it looks like Google Maps, and when you're looking down off of a 13 floor on the edge of it, you're like, oh my god, I could fall, and so that, you know.
Yeah, but that illusion of Google Maps dies pretty quickly as you're falling
No,
90 miles an hour towards the Earth.
it doesn't though.
You can zoom in pretty far.
It doesn't. It doesn't really. I mean, honestly, it isn't until you're right about to land that you gain the kind of perspective that you would think you would be accustomed to. It's really weird. It's really weird, and the whole sensation of falling doesn't actually happen to people. That's one of the big things that misconceptions that people are like really surprised after the first time they skydive. They're like, oh, I didn't get that kind of thing up in my throat, my stomach, because when the plane has a forward speed, so when you jump out, you're technically still moving forward by the time you hit terminal velocity. So you gradually get up to terminal velocity while you're still moving forward, so you don't get that dead air feeling like you would when you do a balloon jump or a base jump. So a lot of people, they're borderline underwhelmed by it because they're like, oh wow, that wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. So it's nice. They call that the hill, by the way, like when you come off of the hill. Just a little slope and everything. It's fun.
So you don't get that roller coaster feeling of like the tingling in your lower stomach and asshole and just like, ew. You know what I mean? Everybody
What roller
knows.
coaster are you riding that it's tickling your ass?
Yes.
Pretty fun ones.
Where can one find such a roller coaster that tickles your head? For science. Do we need a fresh topic?
Yeah, I'll actually be right back. My phone's dying. I have to plug it in.
Okay.
God forbid. All right.
Yes, we can't interrupt the steady stream of nudes headed to Kyle's phone.
Not even in. Why does it always have to be nudes?
Okay. I don't know. Topless? Here. Topic. What do you find annoying about being a guy, a male?
Being held accountable for my actions.
Tell me more.
I mean, if I'm a shithead, nobody's going to stand up for me for no reason. Nobody's going to, like, jump in and be like, hey, you back off of him. And, like, be like, he didn't mean it or he didn't understand. It's like, yeah, fuck that guy. And, like, it's, you know what I mean?
I know
like,
what you mean. Yeah.
Legion of defenders at every turn to protect me.
I feel like women, especially if they have any kind of beauty, just intrinsically have value without adding anything else to the equation. You know, like you exist as a 24-year-old woman, who's even in the realm of fit, and you pretty much got all your bases covered. You're good. You're good for 6 more years.
Yeah, just don't be fat. Just remember, just don't be fat.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Here's my advice to the ladies watching
really
this.
mean.
1, be skinny. 2, don't be fat. You got those bases covered, and you have a lot of value. You're the female equivalent of a millionaire. You just
Yeah.
Like, obviously that's a hyperbole because it's not that cut and dry, but it is definitely something. Like, you get held accountable for your actions more. If you fuck up, people are gonna make sure you know you did, and nobody really pulls any punches because they don't care about your feelings.
the classic
And I just want someone to care about my feelings for once. And, but yeah, that would be.
There's
my
pros.
answer, I
There's
guess.
pros associated with that too, because the fact people don't care. They're like, all right, yeah, dress how you want to dress, whatever.
Yeah, definitely. There are definitely some pros to it.
Yeah, my clothes rarely match.
You kind of balance it out, I guess.
I think the underwear annoys me.
Tell me more about your underwear, Richard.
You know how like you have like that hole, like the flap thing on the, like, so why is that still a thing? Do people actually use that? Do, like, guys use that?
No.
Honestly, I'm just like,
nobody uses those. Or the kind that have that flap and the flap's really long and open, but there's no button in the middle of it, and so nothing is keeping you in there.
My thing is like I buy boxers and then like those fucking buttons break. And then it's like I'll like throughout the day I'll be like, oh my dick's made its way out somehow.
Or if you work home from
Suddenly you're
home
feeling
like
a
me,
zipper of your jeans on the front, and you're like, oh, something's happened down there.
I've spent half my recent life in boxers, and I've learned to twist them like 30 degrees, so that hole in the front is like in front of one of my thighs. That way, the shows don't come for free. Otherwise, I look like a fucking elephant.
So you have to twist your boxers every morning. Why don't you just buy like the boxers with a button?
I'm just in the habit of wearing boxers off the side now.
Just shit to your boxers.
My underwear is not as nice as I'd like it. Every so often, I'll be like, this is a completely unacceptable underwear situation. I am willing to throw the weight of the Woodworth finances to make this right. You know, we gotta throw away all the underwear, and we're gonna bring in whatever I like. You know, I'm familiar with the jockey boxers now, and it's like got
Really?
6 pairs out, 6 pairs in. We're gonna make this whole situation 10% better than it was before. I'll do it. I've done it with socks. You know, we add
just
socks.
throw underwear away out of anger, like it's just really uncomfortable all day, and you're just like, just stupid. Fuck you. Just
My
throw it
wife
away
bought
at
me
the end of the
underwear.
day.
One has Batman on it and one has Superman on it, and that neither of them like maintain any kind of like my underoos, right? So neither of them maintain any kind of like they don't stay where they are. You know how like you might put your jeans on and like pull them down to mid thigh, and you expect that to stay. Well, these don't do that. They go from boxers to bikinis on their own. They pull on up, and it was like, these things gotta go. I don't care how new they are or whatever. They're just not staying where they belong. The
just
guy
wads up and becomes a damp crotch rag throughout the day.
Oh God, you're very descriptive. Yeah, that's a gift. There's the whole sex thing with being a guy, right? Like, you know, if you come too fast, that's your fault. If you don't come, that's your fault. If she doesn't come, that's your fault. If she's not aroused, that's your fault. Shucks, I don't know. Everything's essentially your fault in this situation.
Yeah, I'd still say the boxers are my beef, man.
That's, the
That's
boxers.
the issue.
Ever since you said that moves up on my list as well.
I feel
I
pressure.
do.
I kind
I
of
do
signed
have
up
the
for
Superman
it.
and the Batman though too. I did get some of those.
Well,
so.
I pray that yours are better than mine.
I got the Under Armour ones. I'm so picky about them because I mean it's like it's honestly one of the like things that you're like kind of committed to, right? Like you're like, all right, well fuck it, I'm not. Who buys boxers all the time? Nobody. I mean like. I'll have mine like my girlfriend like made me throw mine out that I had from like high school. This might be TMI, but like you remember when Express was like separate for men and women? It was like Structure was the men's line. I still had Structure boxers from high school.
So those had their fair use.
Yeah, she's like, you know what, you should probably, but like the thing is like, I don't know, like you could probably get in this conversation where you're like boxers or briefs and everything, but like material plays a lot for me too, because you go out in the desert and you're out there for like, I don't know, 12 hours, it's 115 degrees, it's like cotton and like constraining like tighty whities and everything, like jack you up. So it's like, all right, I want some like moisture wicking, something that's like, you know, like loose fitting
Some
and
wool.
Yes.
Do you have any flannel boxers for the desert?
Yeah.
I mean,
Consider
are a good
jockey.
middle ground.
Oh, what did you say?
I'm getting close to finding us a good spot for the survival trip. Eric says he has a hunting lease on a property with a couple other guys, and it's 850 acres of forest.
Oh wow.
That is plenty.
Where's
Which
this?
state is it in?
Yeah, Georgia.
Georgia.
It's pretty local here.
Nice. And there's a water
time of
source
year?
on it? 800. Yeah,
This
October,
fall,
November.
but he was going to call the other guys and see when they had hunting trips planned. I think the idea was that we would plan our trip around them so that we're not in the woods while they're hunting.
Exactly. You don't want to be that guy.
Yeah,
I saw something in the bushes.
Yeah, some people.
Yeah, you don't want to
Some
be.
people shoot on sound, and I don't understand that. Like, I've shot a lot of deer, and every one of them I was like, yeah, that's a deer. Well, let's wait a second. Maybe a bigger deer will come out. And, I wait, and I'll kind of watch the deer for maybe a minute or two before I shoot. These guys are just out there like...
Quick scoping.
Something, yeah. Like a twig snaps, 30-06, BAM!
Yeah.
Sorry, Fred. Like, how does that shit happen? I heard about a guy accidentally shooting his friend in the head recently with a fucking bow.
Dick Cheney, right? Oh, a bow. My bad.
A bow.
He
Did
killed
he
him.
live?
No, he shot him in the head.
Well, I don't know.
Well, I
Dick
don't know.
Cheney
Could it
shot a
be
guy with a
raising blow?
shotgun.
I don't know how he explained that, and I was, but I got, that's all the story that I got. I was like, well, did they let him go? Because that sounds impossible unless he like shot over a hill or something. Like,
Weird.
yeah.
Do you
But
guys
I don't
know what
understand
lawn
the people who
darts
shoot
are?
on stuff. Lawn
have to
darts?
see the
Yeah, you
angle of
throw
the
them up in the air
arrow.
and you
Underhand,
wait for them
yeah.
to come down and kill you.
It was like
Yeah.
horseshoes, but with really heavy darts that weighed like 5 pounds each. I think they're illegal now.
People died.
People, yeah, because I
Lawn
remember
darts?
as a kid, we'd take the darts, we'd throw them way up in the sky as high as we could, and then we'd like look at where it's coming and try to like gauge where it's landing and run where it's not. This is lucky to be alive. Fucking lawn darts.
It was a spear. It was a spear.
That's
Like,
pretty much like an arrow-shaped spear.
yeah.
It
Remember
was
that?
like a really heavy
Have
arrow.
you ever played for real, or I guess Woody
Yeah.
has. He's old. That's
They-
he
they
played
would
kick
have,
the
like-
can.
So,
throw the
but you
spear.
play really far
And,
away. The
Count the buffalo. What else?
the targets that you threw lawn darts
Uh.
into were like hula hoops. So you'd back off like, I don't know, like 75 feet apart, and you'd throw them way up in the air and they'd arch down. And kind of like, horseshoes. Like I don't know, you'd have like, maybe you're on your side and I'm on my side and I'm throwing at your target and you're throwing at mine.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't safe. Not at
So
all.
dangerous. I can imagine the person who invented it being like, how funny would it be if we do a horseshoes, but we just made a metal spear? Ted, nobody's going to go for that. Who's going to buy metal spears for their children to play with in the yard? No, we'll call it lawn darts. It's going to be great. Like that, I can't imagine that. I once, and at the age of like 8, at the family reunion I was at, I had the wherewithal to be like, hey guys, I don't think we should be doing this. Like there are children about, throwing metal spears.
Did you guys ever do like the Roman candle? Like,
Well,
Sure.
I did that last 4th of July.
I
That's
see
just good.
Kyle shaking his head. Yep.
Yeah.
We
You
would
hold
have
'em in your
fireworks.
Or like when you were younger,
wars.
the bottle rocket fights.
Yeah, we would have firecracker wars, and the rules were you could use anything that you could buy at Crazy Steve's. Because
Could you buy M80s at Crazy Steve's?
Because Crazy Steve's has a no duds guarantee, 100% money back, 200%.
Wow.
If you get a dud, he'll give you 2 good ones for it. So we'd go up to Crazy Steve's and we'd load up. I always
old
had more
Steve.
money, so I was always armed a little bit better. Everybody could go buy like the $10 pack of little firecrackers. They had the cannon fuse, and it had the maximum. They can only use so much powder anyway. It had the maximum charge, and it's a little firecracker with cannon fuse. Those are effective. They're $10. But that's not good if you're trying to really hurt someone. You need bottle rockets.
Is that the goal in firecracker
Bottle rockets
fights?
hurt like a bitch.
Yeah, it's a war. Like if your munitions are funny to the other guy, then he could just run up on you with a Roman candle and fucking burn your ear off or something.
How'd you guys do your? How'd you do your supply? Like we'd have literally a bucket full of like fireworks like right beside us, and like we'd be like, all right, I'm pulling this one out, and then like one time like the Roman candle actually shot into the bucket, and it's like just melted the thing down to the ground. It's like, oh my god! Oh, it's like man from Florida. That's the entire story.
We would take like hunting vests and stuff that had pockets and like hunting stuff like the like a shell pouch and stuff like that, and my I would usually be armed with like 3 big bottle rockets, like the biggest rockets you could buy, the ones that are like $8 a piece. I'd have like 3 of those.
Metal-looking.
Yeah, it's got a cone on the end. Yeah, I get like 3 of those things, a piece of PVC, 1-inch PVC pipe about this fucking long. That's I can put them in one of those little micro butane torches, so I can always get like a quick light. You don't want to be out there sparking one up, like that's no good. You want to be instantaneous. And I'd always have like that many Roman candles, like however many I could like strap on. And then like my secret weapon, and that's what was in the shotgun pouch on my hip, was the mortars. The biggest mortars you could buy from those big mortar launchers, and those things are on a different level than what most people play with. They're kind of expensive, but they're really fucking loud, and they burn everything within like an 8-foot radius.
You
Just
can
burn
literally
everything.
kill
Orders
someone
at
with
each
those.
other. You shoot like this 50-yard explosion.
in a trailer. Like at one point the battle moved into a single wide trailer that was abandoned on the property, and there's bottle rockets and Roman candles crisscrossing, and I'm lighting up the fucking mortar. I'm like, ooh, gold. Throw it down the fucking hallway, slam the door shut, and you just hear boom, and I'm just like, and then I don't hear anything else.
Yeah, you can't get away with that kind of stuff.
Smoke,
No.
some smoke comes under the door, and I was just like, and Scott's just like peeking up behind a couch, like, what the fuck was that? It burnt everything.
He's got no eyebrows. So you just
He's like, it was so bright.
all-
He kept saying, it was so bright. It was so bright.
So it was everybody else's like armaments, like just little bottle rockets, and you went in there and had huge mortars and the big bottle rockets and Roman candles.
Look,
you had those little colorful smoke bombs to distract them as you're tactically moving about the single wide.
So the thing is, some people always like to make a joke like I'm wealthy or something, and I just always spend too much money on my hobbies, but that's not it. It's just that if I'm gonna have a hobby, I don't want to have a shitty paintball gun. I don't want to have a shitty airsoft gun. I I certainly don't want to go into a firework battle with some shitty firecrackers. So I go ahead and get $100 worth of fucking firecrackers because I'm going to a firecracker war. I'm not going to a fireworks show. There's a very big difference. Like there's a war here. We used to also have wars that involved crossbows, but that got broken. But all of our dangerous toys were literally Dad would take them and like break them. Like he smashed so many of my pellet rifles and BB guns. Just
It's funny you say that as the crossbows and stuff like that are dangerous, but now like back then we could get away with doing the firework stuff, but now you drive through the wrong neighborhood now and your truck backfires, you just blew up a meth lab. So like when it comes to fireworks, there's no stray Roman candles because you don't know what's gonna happen in the neighborhood.
Probably not a bad.
That was back when M80s were legal and good to buy too. There was always a story every year of someone who knew a kid who blew their fucking fingers off because they held them too long.
Pipe bombs.
I've got some of those mortars upstairs in the closet. I've got some.
Were pipe bombs a big deal when you were a kid? They used to make pipe bombs where I grew up. You just I guess they'd take the gunpowder from firecrackers, put them in pipes, and screw the ends on, and there you go. You can put extra things in there like pellets, buckshot, like ground up utensils from a blender. Who knows? And then when it explodes, the pipe would blow and the pipe bombs. I didn't make them myself.
That doesn't sound like the kind of war that Kyle was having. That sounds like the seriously maim and kill kind of war.
It seemed like every year someone else got hurt with the pipe bomb. And as a kid, all I really knew was not to mess with pipe bombs. I didn't do it.
It's a good lesson.
Good lesson.
Yeah. We also did a thing like I didn't have any paintball guns. It was pre-paintball gun purchasing, but we would take our 12 gauge shotguns and.
Oh my god.
And
you're it.
And, load up. We both have a shotgun, but you load up some rounds that are just the wad, and we experimented with different projectiles that were human safe.
Like what?
Well, we tried to get the bouncy balls, like the super balls, but they don't make them 12 gauge size. They're a little bit too big. So we're always looking for like foam stuff, and
probably for the best.
I think we shot berries actually at some point. We found these like really hard berries that if you squeeze like that hard, they'd squish, and we just load up a shell with those and shoot them at each other because it'd sting like a motherfucker, but it wasn't dangerous.
Yeah, it doesn't sound dangerous.
No,
not at all.
The wad's dangerous.
Yeah, the wad's crazy.
Well, up close,
I've had the wad sticking to like 2x4s and stuff like that.
Up close, it totally will. We kept it 20 yards or.
Oh my god.
Nice and safe. We're running pump actions. It's all good.
If people don't know what the wad is, everyone kind of has this idea that a shotgun shoots buckshot, these little pellets. The wad is the canister that pushes them all forward. So you've got like the powder and the wad on top of it, and when that explodes, the wad launches up, and eventually it spreads its wings and lets go of the buckshot. I'm sure I messed up some technical term. They're not wings, Woody. They're
did pretty good.
Flaps or something, but Richard makes gun videos. I don't know if you've ever said anything wrong in a gun video. But that community is enthusiastic.
It's such a difficult thing because it's weird because I feel like anything people are passionate about, you're always going to get people who are very, very the purists on certain things, and like you got to be careful because like you say one thing wrong or it gets misinterpreted, and it's like they want to crucify you, and it's like man, I'm coming from a good place, I promise you, like maybe I said it wrong or something like that, or this term or whatever, and they're like, no. I mean, you obviously get stuff on the internet. I mean, there are so many trolls when it comes to people like, oh no, technically it's this or that, but
call a suppressor a silencer and see how that goes. Yeah. There's gonna be 1 million people out there.
I'm going to call it the sound eliminator when I start making gun videos, just to bother people.
The shusher.
Maxim called it a silencer. Maxim called it a silencer when he invented the thing, and the ATF uses the word silencer. I find the two words to be synonymous, but the word suppressor to be more accurate.
I think, I'm not positive, but the ATF uses the term assault rifle. I know several governments do, including our own. But
yeah, it's really weird because the state governments had their own ways of classifying different things based off of the terminology, and what was really crazy is how some of the laws, specifically like California, when they talk about the hunting rifles and for like when you get your hunting license and everything, like they would call it this, but then when they tried to pass this law here, say, oh no, it encompasses this or that, and they'd call it something completely different and be, no, you defined it as this, and this is for the hunting purposes, right? So why are you trying to ban it for this recreational thing? So I don't know, like it's frustrating, especially when in the firearms community, because you really do have to like involve attorneys when it comes to legalities on a lot of things, just because of the way I guess laws are interpreted by the person who's enforcing them, right? So like that's why there's different state, rules. Local, federal governments, right? So I don't know.
Anyway, yeah.
People can be butt heads. That's why I'm like that's why I always like bring all my licenses when I go to shoots and stuff like that, because even though like the federal government will say one thing, the state government will say something else. Example, take medicinal marijuana as a topic, because like a lot of guys in California that I know, they have their green cards, and they smoke and everything,
they
and they're like, well,
green cards? That's funny.
Yeah. They're like, well, why don't you do? Well, one, I just don't, but two, I can't, because technically, like, I'm not necessarily a federal government like employee, but I work with the federal government, and if at some time they come in to inspect my house or something like that, even though the state recognizes that I can purchase it without being prosecuted on a state level, the federal government still can. So they could pull my licenses, they could, it cause a lot of trouble. So it's really frustrating because, some laws are just dictated by who's interpreting them. So I don't know. When it comes to firearms, I mean, that's another super long conversation. I don't want to take that down that road, but I mean, that's what's frustrating about, like, you talk about suppressors and stuff like that, even select fire stuff, and it's like, I just want it. Stop it! Stop trying to take these from me.
Yeah, and sometimes they don't always like. A lot of laws, most laws, I would say, are kind of logic-based. Why is there a speed limit? Well, you know why. Because some people would get really unsafe with it. And on top of that, as a nation, we consume less gasoline or power because of a speed limit. And, it's safer. That's why. You might not like it, but you can at least understand why this thing happened. Why are there laws against stealing and murdering and raping and all those things? You just kind of get it, right? Everyone knows why there should be those laws. In guns, a lot of times, the laws don't make any sense at all. Like you can have a black gun and a wood gun that did the exact same thing, but the black one was illegal, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. Heck, I lost my train of thought. I was going to say something about rifles and pistols, but the way that they outlaw those things, it doesn't make much sense. They put all these extra restrictions on things that aren't that dangerous. Silencers are a good thing. They're not weapons of assassins that you think they are. They're
but Antonio Banderas, he rocked one out. It was so effective.
But in real life, it's really just a little more polite so your neighbors don't hear it.
Yeah.
But
well, even for you, I mean, like
Right,
it really
right.
like, I mean, the shooter himself, I mean, that helps significantly.
Yep.
It's
yep.
nice.
Yeah,
It
I
was
agree.
we ran that Chris suppressed almost all day, and it was a real pleasure. Like it was just nice.
Like jumping on that, just like what was your experience with that? Just out of curiosity, because I know like the suppressor definitely helps as far as like the cycling, especially for that gun in particular. But like, what did you think? Like, did you notice like obviously the tracers were like passing like right there at each other and
The rate of fire was so fast on 2-round bursts, and that's why they keep trying to get the rate of fire higher, is because they want that 2-round burst, to be that ultimate double tap, and it really is. I was shooting the bottom of like quart cans of paint, and at like 20 yards, it's putting both bullets in that target like that in a 2-round burst. We were trying to put a 2-round burst on a piece of steel about this big at 100 yards, and we couldn't quite do it, but they were close. Like, it's in full auto, it just screams. It dumps a mag in 1.2 seconds, maybe less, something like that.
That seems cumbersome.
It's what do you mean? Well,
Difficult to wield and handle, and like just like
the gun itself is just super compact. It's just so tiny. When the SBR ends up being like this big when it's
Oh, it's a
folded
little
up.
gun. I didn't know that.
What's the
well,
Chris?
the way
You remember? Did you play Modern Warfare 2? Taylor?
Yeah, I did.
Remember the Vector? Submachine gun? That.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so the way the vector works too is the way that it's cycling, you're not getting the recoil where the muzzle's going to come up on you. It's actually like it's pushing down and back into you, so you're not having to worry about like the rise on it.
Yeah, that recoil mitigation system. And then the
Yeah.
barrel itself is set so low. I mean, if you take your finger off the trigger and look down the side of your fingers, just parallel with the barrel, they're on the same plane.
What's the point of it shooting that fast? Just for fun?
Ultimate firepower. I think what we were discussing was that it was nice to have that super fast double tap for the 2-round burst.
Yeah. I mean, there's I guess different applications for all it. Like most people that I know that use select fire for like suppressing fire and stuff like that. I mean, you want to be able to put as many effective rounds on target. It's easier usually to do it on burst or semi-automatic, whereas like suppressing fire is really like one of the big things for full auto. But it's weird because like I've never had any issues with a Vector. I've shot it a lot, and maybe it's because I'm getting like really broken in and like the dealer samples and everything that they make sure are right. But I hear people talking about, oh no, I have issues with it, jamming here and there, or like have an issue or something like that. So when you said that they were getting that rate of fire up that high, I was like, wow, did you run into any? Well, obviously you're running specialty ammo through it, so probably had a few things here and there. But did you run any like just FMJ or out of it?
I ran regular PMC. I ran plus P through it. I ran RIP plus P. I ran Lehigh fragmenting stuff through it. I ran frangible through it. Everything. It ran well with anything and everything. Even that light ass Lehigh stuff. I don't know how many grains that is, but it's not. It's light. I didn't think it would cycle the gun. It cycled it.
Wow.
I was impressed. I'm getting the SBR with the folding stock. They do that M4 thing, but I think I like the folding stock better.
Nice.
It's a cool gun though. I was sold on it after I shot it. I wasn't for sure before I shot it.
Yeah, I love any company that comes in and just tries to shake up the status quo of like here's what this should be, right? Like for better or worse, I think there's
Apple.
Well, yeah, I mean, like it's nice to have like people come in and challenge that status quo. So it only helps people build off of it, right? So like, there's going to be a debate, and people are going to talk about the pros and the cons, and then the pros will probably get implemented in some new type of technology, and we'll just get something better out of it. And that's not just with firearms; it'd be with cell phones or whatever,
Yeah. that recoil mitigation system could lend itself somewhere else down the road. That's a cool system. It doesn't look like it should work.
Yeah, it's a weird way of thinking about how the gun should cycle.
It doesn't look like it should work.
Yeah.
We field stripped that one today, and I was really impressed just looking at how the internals worked and everything. It's a cool gun. I'm looking forward to getting mine. Got to wait for the paperwork.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
That paperwork.
Woody needs to start his paperwork so he has some suppressors so that he can shoot in his backyard.
You're right.
You should get a dealer license so you have a place to store it until you get the clearance.
Hey! But my waiting period is 45 days.
It's it's tough. Like to get the the trust for a silencer, you need to have a silencer in mind and you need to have the serial number for the silencer. And when I went to go buy one, they didn't have any silencers in stock. I guess because you need a license to buy them. I'll have to work it out, but I should get it started.
Yeah.
We should call. Let's call
Quiet
Jake
Riot.
tomorrow. Let's call Jake tomorrow. Call Quiet Riot, and maybe go online first, pick the one you want, and like he'll in 30 minutes conversation, he'll have you a lawyer to do the trust. Yeah. He'll have you like all the other paper. He'll be like, all I need are signatures, and I do everything else. Like this guy handles the whole thing.
Yeah, I will say that about like the different companies that manufacture that stuff. They offer amazing support. Like they get that people realize that it's such a difficult process, and they want to they're like, no, buy the stuff. Buy the stuff. We will help you out. We will we'll talk to your if your FFL is not willing to really walk you through the process, we'll hook it up. Like just give us a shout. And
my local FFL is so bad. One time we did a thing where we read the Yelp reviews on the guy.
It's bad. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all like, that guy with the khaki vest and the bald head, he's horrible. Just like review after review. He was so rude.
Are they an NFA dealer?
NFA? I'm not sure.
Do they have suppressors?
You might have to go to another dealer anyways to get that.
You're right. Yeah, I've never seen anything like that in there. Yeah. But I'll get it sorted out. That's for sure.
Yeah, I like that Spike's Tactical one, the integrated SBR. It just, it looks so awesome.
Daniel Defense does an integrated one.
Yeah, the ISR 300 and 300 Blackout, right?
Yeah, that's really nice. I like that.
Sick.
Tell me if this is an off-camera topic. Do you have a trust that owns your house as a way to protect your address, Kyle?
No.
Oh, okay. I don't know where I got that. It was something that was in my head.
Oh, before you purchase a silencer or buy one, you should just wait till mine come through, and then you could shoot a bunch of different silencers and get a feel for it. Because I'll have 9 suppressors here in
Of course you will. Days. Oh, did you set up your steel targets?
Yeah, I set them up. I haven't put them in the field, but I mean, setting them up is just like.
What?
I haven't technically set them up, but I took them out of their boxes and assembled them in a room.
Oh,
does that
okay.
count?
I was wondering because you said I set them up, but I haven't, put them in the field or anything. I'm like, well, what did you do? But you took them out of their boxes and looked at them and stuff.
Yeah, took them out and assembled them. They've got, it's kind of a weird stand that it's from the Target man. He's got a weird stand that his targets come with, and they were kind of unique. And I haven't shot them yet. I've been meaning to. I want to go play with them.
Yeah. Why are steel targets safe? They seem unsafe. It seems like bullets could bounce right back at you. So I guess they smash and turn into fragments to some extent.
They lose all their energy. They just die right there. Most stuff does. Like if you shoot some steel core stuff, maybe you could get some weird stuff.
I've seen
going
weird
on.
things happen when they hit trees.
Yeah.
A lot of them are at angles though too. They're at an angle at which once they hit it flex it down towards the ground too. So.
It just seems not safe, but everyone does it, so it's got to be. I just don't know why.
Yeah, science.
Yeah. But angling down, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Well, I've definitely had stuff come back and hit me before, but not from targets that I was supposed to be shooting. Targets that were oh, those are rifle shooting targets. It was, shooting cement and shooting plate steel and stuff like that. And pieces of bullets at the very least will come back at you.
So we're bombing Syria.
bombing the fuck out of them. And so is like France and the Netherlands and Australia.
Like
China says they want
Arab
some.
countries.
It's
I
ridiculous.
don't want to speak too soon, but it looks like we're winning. For now.
Well, I mean, we're winning the air war. I'm not sure about. I don't know what's going on the ground.
The camel defensive is what they're setting up. Like, there's no way they can compete.
I heard they may have identified the guy who's been doing the executing. The guy.
Yeah, I saw that too. I even
the
read
same
his
guy?
name.
Yeah, every time. Yeah, it's the same guy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Hope they kill that fucker.
I think that's where the smart money
$10 million
is.
on his head.
Yeah.
$10 million on his head. You don't last long like that, I wouldn't imagine.
No, I'd have done it for one.
You know, when you hear about a bounty like that, a little part of you goes, 10 million, eh?
I know, right?
How much is a plane
You know?
ticket?
I don't know.
I could probably borrow enough money to go on quite an offensive.
Yeah. Like, I don't know anything about tracking people.
I'm pretty sure I could put on quite a small war in some small Middle Eastern country for a week or two, you know, with a few $100,000. Like,
Richard can jump out of a plane 3 miles away and just glide his way there.
A-team right
Stealth,
here.
under the radar. It'll be legend for decades. They swear he was killed by a flying man.
I got it.
We've got the A-team right here. That's hilarious. Yeah, like $10 million. That's a lot of money to go somewhere and get a guy. And you'd
Yeah.
have to find him, and then you'd have to like
Kill him.
kill him and all. But it's $10 million. That's a lot of money.
Just throw his
Do
body
they
in
offer
the
different
ocean.
prices for alive?
No, I think it's a dead or alive kind of thing. I don't think the U.S. really cares. They didn't with Osama bin Laden. It seems like he was like 25 million when they were after him.
Wow.
I wonder if anybody got that. Like, was that just intelligent?
That SEAL team just distributed it.
Right.
It's been like, hey, each of you gets 3 mil.
It was like the government paid themselves. They're like, all right, great, we're gonna put it back into the program.
Pat on the back, guys. All right.
Good job, everyone.
Yeah. Are we pro bombing Syria?
I don't know. I don't know what I should. I don't even know enough about it.
Well, you've got that. What's the guy in charge there? Assad. He's got that whole regime where like there's already like a civil war going on in the country, and you can't tell the good guys from the bad guys. And but then these ISIS people.
From
seem
what I
to be
can
like,
tell, I'm glad we're doing it.
Yeah, it seems that this ISIS organization seem to be like James Bond villains, like super evil, like so evil it's like, are you pretending to be that evil? Like,
Or are they
you're
just
not
telling
real.
us they're that evil? I mean, they
Yeah,
acted like
yeah. It's like they're
Osama
trying
bin
to play it up like
No.
super fucking evil on social media. It seems that no one could be as evil as they are, but perhaps they are.
I
So,
said
I mean,
Osama, but I meant Saddam Hussein, right? Saddam Hussein was a leader. They talked about how he killed his own people, but there was a civil war, right? His people rose up and tried to take him down, and he, by that measure, Abraham Lincoln killed his own people.
That's a little different.
don't compare Saddam Hussein to Abraham Lincoln, our greatest president, second greatest.
Yeah, our greatest president because he won, right? Saddam Hussein would be the greatest president if he won.
He was never like a real president, though. Just the dictator. He can call himself whatever he wants. He can call himself the Grand Wizard.
I'm going
of
to take
Iraq.
a bunch of crap for this, but I'm just saying, the South rose up against the North. Abraham Lincoln said, "All right, I'm not going to let this
comparing the
happen."
Remember all
massacre
those times
of the
that-
Kurdish villages to the Civil War in Abraham Lincoln?
Yeah, remember, Kyle, of course the story is all those Southerners stealing the Northerners. All right, now I'm going to behead this guy and send a note about it, and they just saw it off with an old rusty bayonet.
The
Which is
winners
very
write
similar,
the
very
history,
similar.
man. Like the reason the good guys won that is because the good guys always win. I can't think of a war where the bad guys won and then wrote the history that way.
Mongols,
Oh, well, we rewrote the history, I
because
suppose.
someone else wrote the history. Still,
but anyway, yeah. So he killed his own people, but I feel like they leave out the whole fact that his people tried to kill him and overthrow him, and that was part of the deal. He was a bastard, but he was our bastard, and he kind of kept that. The Kurds, the Shiites, and the what am I missing?
Sunnis.
I don't like
Thank
how
you.
you're talking about him. Like you went to camp with him as a kid, and he like died in a car accident 5 years ago.
I think that like Woody might have some sort of relationship with Saddam Hussein. We don't
Yeah.
know about. He is Woody and-
So-
It was like
Yeah,
that
that
South
was
Park
racist.
episode where he's in bed with him.
Yeah, yeah. You are way too
What's
friendly.
wrong? What's wrong, Satan?
I
Woody's
just
Superstar.
but
I
they
know this might
painted
be
this
unpopular,
guy like he
but I'm going
was.
to come out and say I like Lincoln more.
So my
I actually
point-
don't think Lincoln was a very good president. I don't know why I said I didn't mean. he
Of
was so
course
bad.
not. You're from Georgia. You lost.
Obama's our best president. Change, hope.
So, they painted Saddam Hussein as if he was the most dangerous, most terrible, most awful person ever, when in reality he didn't really pose much of a threat to the United States at all. They painted him as if he was the mastermind behind 9/11. They would mention 9/11 and Saddam Hussein in the same breath again and again and again as they beat the war drum to get us into Iraq. They had a 98% approval rating. 98% of America wanted to go into Iraq. And I'm going to make up numbers here. 80% of them, it was because of 9/11. You know, they were just like, oh, 9/11, we got to get them back. And to hell, Iraq's as good a group as any. You know, Condoleezza Rice was like, we cannot let the mushroom cloud be the evidence that they actually have these weapons of mass destruction. I'm going to mess that up. But yeah, they had us convinced that Saddam Hussein and his weapons of mass destruction, that we were on the defense on that thing. I just don't trust anyone. They say that we're going after ISIS. For all I know, like Taylor said, the best they can mount is the Camel offensive. That we could solve all our problems by not going to Syria. And if that's the case, there's a dozen African countries where the same rule applies. You know, yeah, it's a mess there locally, but you stay away and there's not a problem. We spent, like, I don't know, how many billions have we spent on this so far? Osama bin Laden once said, he's like, the easiest way to take out Americans is just to get them to spend all their money and drain all their resources. I can cost them $1 billion by just planting a flag in the middle of the sand. And they can. I'm not sure it's a good idea to go in and kill these guys. Just because they're, you know, we're using F-22s to kill guys with AKs and robes and bathrobes. I mean, it might be a bad strategy.
They got AAA.
I'm sure that's a big problem for F-22s.
No, not really.
No.
Yeah, I really don't
Not
know
after
enough
that
about
1,000-pound bomb hits it.
It is a complete mismatch. They are not a threat to us unless you're in there reporting live from Syria. And I mean, it's probably unpopular to say now, but I wonder if we're making a mistake. Are we not recruiting more, enemies of the United States by killing people? I'm not sure. Then I also hear stuff like, there's 30,000 of them, and it is a big deal, and they need to be taken care of.
Yeah, they seem super evil. When France bombs you, you fucked up. Like France doesn't just bomb anybody. When's the last time France bombed someone?
Who was it that was saying that about the Canadians?
1700s.
Canadians. Canada.
Yeah, ISIS threatens Canada.
Yeah, you don't threaten
Canadians, yeah.
Canada. Well, on
That's
Painkiller
what makes me
Nearly,
think they're a troll.
we did a skit.
Yeah, it's almost like some stuff that North Korea would pull. It's so ridiculous, some of the things that they say. Threatening Canada. That's just silly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're so nice.
Yeah, who
They're
threatens
sweet
Canada?
people. You don't mess with Canada.
They're our hat. They keep us
Yeah, you
warm.
talk about the history books. It's such I I try not to get I'm naturally a passionate person, but it's hard for me because I want to be passionate about subjects, but I understand that stepping back and looking at it is I have a few avenues at which I'm getting information. It's like, am I really educated enough to be this passionate about a decision that's ultimately going to affect mine and other people's lives? And it's really, really difficult to come out and say, hey, I feel this way, and like you say, I'm planting the flag right here, because in reality there's so many variables, and you're talking about how much damage are we causing ourselves by doing that. It's a very, 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 very complex situation. Some people even argue that World War II was because of World War I. We gave rise to that situation because we were like, hey, we did this, and then the German government was like, hey, you need us to be strong and do this for you and blah blah blah. And that
we gave them a lot of problems to blame the Jews for too. He's like, you know why we lost that war? You know why we're humiliated? You know why we're suffering from all of these things we had to sign over for peace? Like, it's the Jews.
I think how they
I'm not
teach.
going to claim to know all the answers or anything, but I will say that it's hard for me to give like any definite or definitive stand and say, hey, I feel this way. Yes, let's do this, or no, let's don't. Because I honestly, I don't. Like, I hear people like politicians on both sides. You know what? 8 months ago going, no, we need to stay out of there, and then this, this ISIS thing happens and everybody's like, oh, we need to go get them, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
The Republicans in particular will just dislike anything Obama does, right?
Yeah.
Like Kyle was saying that on Painkiller Nearly. First off, he's a big sissy for not going in there. He goes in there, now he's reckless. They just, whatever Obama does, they're on the other side. It doesn't matter. What do we have here, Kyle? Oh, the thumb.
The thumb.
Tell us the story of Jeremy's thumb.
Jeremy.
Richard, go to his Twitter to look at it. Kyle's
Yeah,
Twitter.
yeah.
It's a very brutal pic.
Yeah, Jeremy got a job at some sort of factory, job, and he got his thumb stuck in a metal bender.
Jesus.
And it bent his thumb as if it were a piece of metal. And it didn't work out very well. And let me read the text to you because it's kind of gross, and I'm not sure I remembered exactly. I was trying to get him. By the way, I tried really hard to get him to come on tonight, but he's got that girlfriend that's like running his life now, and like he's got to take her. He's got to take a kid that's not. He's got to take her child to school early in the morning, so he couldn't come.
I like also the visual of him texting with his bloody stump.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's why he asked if I would call him instead of texting. I was like, nah, man, I don't want to call him. Meanwhile, the front of his phone is just covered in blood.
Why did I download Swipe?
It looks like not.
So is this thumb going to be okay? Is it going to... Like, it's not going to be okay, very apparently, but is it going to be functional again?
They've been putting, like, dip spit on it and, like, wrapping it up in some tobacco leaves, so I think it'll be all right.
Wait, is this the Jeremy I know?
On it.
Yeah, yes, Jeremy, you know. Yeah.
Wait, so you're telling me he gets hurt like that on a job not working for you?
Right.
That's irony right there.
He fucked it up. He said something about, quote, like tearing the meat away from the bone. I don't know if like maybe the bottom part of his thumb was like ripped away from the bone or something. I don't know what. Like maybe like all the flesh off the bone from the bottom.
Like a baby back rib.
Yeah, like a baby back rib, and the nail is obviously like broken in half.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell what the gray thing was. Was that the nail like pulled out of there?
Yeah, it's all fucked up. I haven't seen it, nor do I want to. Like it's fucked up. Like I said, I tried to get him to come on tonight, and he was like, my girlfriend.
Is he on painkillers or anything?
Nope, that's just Jeremy.
He's just incomprehensible naturally. I think I'm gonna do my damnedest to get him on PKA 200 and to get the Jeremy Wheel of Pain to be a thing. Like we need to get on Amazon tonight and find one of those wheels that you spin that has like the segments. Then you can like write in with like a marker, what each segment is. We're gonna come up with a Jeremy Wheel of Pain, and there's gonna be like $100 in there somewhere, but that's like 1/16 of the time. The rest of the time, pain time.
I think that
those are such unfair odds.
I think that getting shot with a potato gun should be one of the pains.
One.
Yeah, I think you should do that for the Patreon. Just like set up a pool for that for the Jeremy wheel, and then like as the number goes up, there should be like increasing difficulties and consequences.
By the end of it, there's a heavyweight fighter punching him in the head or something.
By the end of it, he gets back to put his other thumb in a metal bender.
Maybe it would be he has to go around with Joe like full speed. And I bet if Joe said he was going full speed, he would go full speed.
Really?
That would be terrible. That would be great. But that would be horrible. Not striking, of course. Like we wouldn't want to damage poor Jeremy any more than he already is.
Joe doesn't
choke
need
him out.
striking.
Yeah, but I'm gonna do like I said, I'm gonna try my best to get him on here, cause I already decided. I was like, at first I was like, I don't want that fucker sitting next to me for 4 hours, like right here sharing this space, like here, like I'm just imagining him right here, and like breathing on me and stuff. His breath is just putrid. It's the worst ever. And just
people think Kyle's being mean, but those people
have nothing nice
they
to
don't
say
sit
about this
next to
guy
him.
ever.
Look. All right, here. Let me give you a rundown. Let me say some nice things about Jeremy.
Okay.
Jeremy is loyal most of the time.
When he's not stealing from you.
When he's not stealing from you, he's hardworking. When you're watching him, he's he's a good driver. he's a good driver in his dreams. He's
I don't think you're good at nice things.
You're really bad at it.
He's a kind person, and he means well, generally speaking.
Bless his heart.
But he has no table manners. He picks his nose. He blows his nose and wipes the snot on things that are like his pants. Like he'll like when I'm in the shower, like especially if I've been working all day in a field, like I'll blow my nose in my hands like this. And like blow my nose in my hands, and there's snot on my hands now. But there's the shower. Like it immediately cleanses my hands of the snot. Jeremy does it while you're in the truck with him and wipes his hands on his pants.
Oh, that would make me so uncomfortable.
The worst part? They were Scott's pants. They were borrowed pants.
Oh, see?
Scott goes, what the fuck did you just do? Jeremy goes, rubber, which means, what do you mean?
Sounds like a teacher from Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
He doesn't borrow things well. They always break and come back. I wouldn't let him borrow a pile of dirt from me.
So he
fuck it up somehow.
Scott's like, my fucking pants, man! You just blew your nose and wiped snot on my pants. What are you doing? He's like, like it hurt his feelings or whatever. he's like,
if you want to do that with your own pants.
Here's what we're going to do. We're pulling over to the gas. Don't you fucking touch anything. We're pulling over to the gas station. You keep your hands where I can see them. I'm going to come around and let you out. You go in there. Wash your goddamn hands. Wash my pants the best you can. And then get back out here. He's like, you can't be touching my door handle, radio, shaking people's hands with booger hands. What's wrong with you? And he has really, really bad breath. And he does this thing where, like, on road trips, like, I'm the driver, another captain's chair, like, right here, where, like, the passenger is, and he's in the back seat. And he comes up between the two seats like a fucking parrot, and he breathes on you. And he's got a deviated septum from some sort of car accident, so he breathes real loud through his mouth.
Just a loud halitosis mist right in your face.
And that's all I'll say about that. But
wait,
really
I have a thing
breath.
to add. For people who don't maybe hear every episode, a good portion of his teeth are rotting out of his mouth.
Well, we had never said that, Woody. I literally just said. That's all we'll say about that.
No, because you told stories before about the girl who kissed him and the rotting teeth, and
I told
Scott
those in private.
No.
Well, what's the story behind it? Like, it might not be his fault. He has bad breath.
No, he's just got bad teeth. He's got real bad teeth. You'll see him if he comes on the show.
I feel so bad for this guy. He just had his fucking thumb torn off.
I don't give him shit about his teeth because he can't help that, as far as I can tell. I give him shit about the things that are clear, like, dude, just fucking try a little bit harder.
I want you guys to tell me if I said something that hasn't been said before, because I thought that had been.
I didn't know it was out. Yeah, let us know. Was the fact that Jeremy has bad teeth?
I thought it was out already.
I didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
That's not a good sign. If Merker didn't
not
know,
a good sign.
I could be in the wrong here. Let
Unless
us know if you knew.
Well, I didn't really know anything about Jeremy until recently. And the more I find, the sadder I become.
We'll see what the crowd says.
Tweet me and tell me if you already knew that Jeremy had mostly rotten teeth.
Mostly, he had to go that way. You can't just say poor. I was like, poor teeth. You're like mostly rotten teeth. They are quite bad. I've offered to help him get them fixed before.
Mm-hmm.
I've explained to him the process for getting them fixed, and like,
he just refused to get them fixed.
He'd rather get some fucking truck tires, man. He'd rather like get some big 36-inch truck tires, or like, I don't know, whatever People like
How can teeth not be higher on your priority list? I don't understand.
It's up there. It's up there somewhere. Like if mine were in that poor of a shape, I would go into debt. I would borrow money. I would be on a they do payment plans for teeth. Like they have to because it is expensive. And I think he's got okay credit. Like there's no reason. And I was gonna give him the down payment. There's no down payment on teeth. That's hilarious. But I get it probably cost $20,000 to get him even like halfway there.
Really?
No.
They
must be bad.
Woody, how many teeth would you say you would keep in Jeremy's head?
I really can't answer, and this is maybe why Kyle hasn't mentioned anything. He's sensitive about it and covers his mouth as much as he can. Right? He lives his life kind of,
Okay, well then this is dickish then talking
Woody
about
threw it out there. I was trying to keep it on the down low.
Oh, right, because you were so sweet until I mentioned his teeth.
That was the breaking
I
point
actually,
for me. Like I said, I don't
feel
think
terrible for this dude.
Like
I don't. Yeah.
Well, you haven't met him yet. Wait till he steals some of your shit and see how terrible.
He is a bit of a thief at times. He steals some things. And he does it under the guise of borrowing or under the guise of I forgot I borrowed that when you ask him if he has it. That sort of thing. And like I loaned him this pistol, right? I loaned him this pistol and it didn't have any scratches on it. And when it came back, it's like this. Like, let's see, I'll try to do close up so you can see like how many scratches there are.
I do hate the whole I forgot I borrowed that thing.
Yeah, that it's seen
Like
somewhere
you
now.
see the trigger?
Yeah,
Oh wow.
Sucks.
And that
Is
gun,
the Punisher
is that
logo?
a $3,000 gun I'm looking at? Is that the Nighthawk?
Yeah, it's about 3,200.
So that's not, something you treat carelessly.
Yeah, and he did.
Why would you loan that out though?
I'm a nice guy. I thought he'd take care of it. I'm gonna get it recoded soon. So I honestly don't mind that he scratched it up because I was planning. I'm literally getting all my guns recoded soon. I'm getting everything Cerakoted, but like really shitty, and now he doesn't get to borrow any more guns.
Well, I
Lost
hope that
his
he
gun.
comes on 200 because I want to see him defend himself against this ruthless onslaught.
Yeah, I'm gonna set him up a little area to film from, like kind of like Robin Quivers has on the Howard Stern show. Like I'm gonna get him in a nice chair. I'm gonna get like maybe a background behind him. Like
He's gonna be trapped in his own halitosis mist.
I didn't want him right. Yeah, I didn't want him right here because he's got bad breath. So I'm gonna get my other laptop, put him on the other internet line. Whole separate setup.
Oh yeah,
He'll be right here so that I can use the same lighting I got set up for me. But like,
Episode 200 will be epic.
I can't promise him. Like I'm trying hard to get him. I'll do my best.
Yeah.
I'll offer him some Patreon money or something.
Yeah. You can only control you.
I make him an offer you can't refuse.
Yeah. That's
I
what we're
watched The
talking
Godfather the
about.
other day. I didn't make it through it. I got
Which
bored.
one?
One. I like 2 better. 2's much better. but
Everyone rips 2 apart. I think 2 is so awesome. There's so much happens.
I like De Niro.
I thought everybody ripped 3 apart,
They
right?
do.
People like 2, right?
I
3
thought
is
they liked
maybe
the
wrong.
first 2.
I liked 2 the
But didn't
most.
The Sopranos hate like all these like shows like they're like the Italian like they just hate 2 or whatever. I don't know. I thought 2 was like there was so much that happens in it with Kate and Michael and everything in it. I thought it was awesome.
Oh,
It was
they were
like
split. So
Yeah.
Carmela liked Godfather 1. Carmela likes Godfather 1. Tony likes Godfather 2. And then she told Father Intantola at movie night and in Godfather 3, what happens? I watched too much Sopranos.
I still haven't watched that show more than the first, I think, 4 episodes of season 1.
Oh, how the fuck is that even possible? I got the box set in the other room. I got the soundtrack in my car. I
really.
love that shit. Yeah.
Best
Yeah.
HBO series so far.
But are you asking or telling?
Asking.
I don't know. I don't think you can count Game of Thrones yet because it's still rolling. I think
No,
that-
you
I-
can, and it
Nah.
is.
I'm not going to count Game of Thrones. What if next year it just really goes to shit?
Well, we
That
are
would totally-
4 seasons in. I think we have a vibe for what. I mean, a
think
lot
it's
of the
gonna-
other series
The
we're comparing
Sopranos
against
did
didn't
like
even.
9. I think The Sopranos did 9 seasons. So like,
If we're-
let's make it to season 5 or 6 or so.
How many seasons did The Wire go? Was it 4?
Yeah.
Let's just take the
That sounds
season
about
count
right.
out of it, just pure quality that you enjoy. Because
Okay.
like, if we're like,
Quality of the
how-
project.
Band of-
Quality of product. I would say that The Sopranos is really fucking high up there. They didn't need any technical stuff because it's not a show that requires special effects, but the acting was super, super strong, and the writing, the story, the characters, all that was great.
Character development. You cared about these people. You wanted to know what happened next to them.
Yeah, I know the personalities and backstories of every single Sopranos character, and each of them is kind of deep and well connected. There's a spider web of relationships. It's good. But the Game of Thrones has so much technical stuff going on. You know, the dragons, they look pretty fucking good. You know, and like the Battle of Blackwater Bay or whatever, that huge green.
To me, it's the costumes and the like dragons. I feel like I'm not seeing a lot of dragons in Game of Thrones. You look
at Jorah Mormont's sheath on his sword. It's got like peacock feather inlay on it and stuff.
It's really ornate and detailed.
Oh. You know what? I'm rewatching right now. I just finished season 1 again for the third time, and I noticed I picked something up. So Jorah Mormont, the guy that was tooling around with the Khaleesi forever, and then she found out that he was spying on her originally and kicked him out. Remember that guy?
Right.
His father is the guy who was in charge of Castle Black originally, like the Lord Commander, with the big older guy with the beard who gave Jon Snow the sword.
Oh, the guy with the beard in Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Narrowed it down.
Okay, the Lord Commander of Castle Black, season 1.
The one that's not Joffrey, because everyone else in that show has a beard.
Mormont or something.
But anyway, I'm watching that thing again, and it's excellent. The costumes are great, the characters are great. It's hard to argue against it just because it's so hard to put that show on.
I like The Wire too. I mean, The Wire was
I haven't
amazing.
watched The Wire either.
You haven't watched The Wire?
No, I've heard it's good. What is it even about? Is it like a drug smuggling show or something?
Yeah. In a nutshell, there are these drug dealers. Are they in Baltimore? They might be in Baltimore.
Yeah,
and they are. And you get to know them. There's different levels of intelligence amongst the drug dealers towards the top and the bottom. And it's like a ghetto drug dealer operation. And then there are the police who are trying to catch them. And the police have to operate in a certain set of like rules, and they try and narrow them down and build up a case against these drug dealers to catch them. And the relationships and such, it's outstanding. It is a very good show. I think you could argue that it's the best HBO series ever. And Sopranos and Game of Thrones exist. So it's right there.
Another one we haven't brought up, Band of Brothers, either one. Either the Eastern Front or... Yeah, those are great.
They are great. And I think the first one was much better than the second, the Pacific. But
I thought they were both really good. Like it held up, I thought. But the first one, just because Tom Hanks...
I didn't like how much time they spent with... What did they make that guy? Like an All-American where he like went home and tried to raise money, but it wasn't a natural fit for him. And
the guy who was a hero who killed like a bunch of Germans in some machine gunner's nest. Then he went home and had to like do like the smoke lucky strike, support your troops. And,
I think they were Japanese people, but just
he was selling war bonds.
Yeah, and then he had to sell war bonds, and that whole like storyline didn't resonate with me.
Yeah, I feel like the lines get blurred for me on like what's HBO and what's not, because I binge watch so much stuff that like I kind of feel everybody else out after a few seasons, and if it ends up turning out to be something like Lost, then I won't invest the time into watching it. And if it's something like people go crazy for Breaking Bad, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna commit like 4 days to this, and I'm just not gonna sleep.
Good
I'm just
choice.
I'm gonna get into the world, because as choosing acting as like a profession or something like that, it's like it's awesome to be able to like step out of your world and into somebody else's, especially something like Twisted like that. It's kind of I don't know, it's kind of interesting. Same thing with Game of Thrones, binge watching that. It's like, wow, this is really, really cool. And like I did that with Walking Dead, and it was such a surreal moment, because when I went outside during the day, actually seeing people was weird to me, because I was like, where are these people coming from? Because like I just watched like 2 days of like The Walking Dead and everything, and it's just weird to switch out of that gear of being in that world for so long. And I really appreciate shows that write for, a season, or if it was based off of a book or something, they write for consumption, not for a one-off episode. And I feel like House of Cards did that. Obviously, Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad did a really great job of that too. And where you can just like kind of immerse yourself into those worlds. And like, what are the options as far as HBO is concerned?
Right
Game
now,
of Thrones, The Wire. What's that new one that's really good? Vice. The Vice show.
No, True Detective. Is that what you're thinking of?
True Detective.
Oh yeah,
is
True
great.
Detective was awesome.
I didn't
Yeah.
get.
And they're doing standalone, so like it's a mini series. There's no season 2 does not have Matthew
Harrelson
McConaughey and Woody Harrelson
Oh.
in it. It's next year. It's fuck. They just announced it. It's one of the guys is
It's Vince Vaughn
yeah.
and
Owen
some
Wilson.
other fucker. Oh no, you sneaky bee! I know exactly what you were talking about a couple minutes ago about like getting really into a show and like going outside and experiencing it. Because like when I would binge watch Game of Thrones, I'd like be walking around like da 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 da, like singing the line, thinking like I would attack from there if I were attacking that building. This is where the walkers would be coming from. I wish I had a Valyrian steel blade. Or, like,
It's funny because you get this Pavlovian like trait about you once you hear that HBO like that boom thing.
Yeah.
It's like oh my god, and you start hearing the song before it happens. Like oh wait, this is just a boxing event. Fuck, Game of Thrones isn't coming on for another 8 months.
I want that on my channel. Like I sometimes I think about intros. There's a lot of people do like a 7-second intro or maybe or 5, but Rocket Jumps is like 2 seconds, like an HBO almost. Maybe you should have a what's the Intel thing? Do maybe something close to that.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Maybe that would be a strong little
You just
intro.
want a jingle and a quick graphic, and let's get to the show.
Yeah, just to
Just make it really startling. Just like you screaming for half a second. Just.
Why don't we spell out the name of your channel in some sort of like flammable liquid then, and like high speed it like lighting as it goes, and just show like a 3-second Woody's Gamertag igniting.
I wish I knew someone who was good with det cord.
No, you know how many people reach out to me on a monthly basis for like, hey, could you like do my brand logo in det cord? And,
Really?
And you're like, dude, no, because like you're like I'm not gonna do like an Apple logo like for your Macintosh. Is like, I mean,
No, dude,
that's different.
your answer is yes, and you provide them a quote.
That's true. That's true. But the
no.
problem is like when you're on YouTube, people like they a lot of people don't understand the value of like what it is that you do. Like you guys definitely do. Like you understand that because all of you guys have like worked with slow motion cameras, like how expensive they are. But a lot of people perceive me as like just you're just some dude who's just like hanging out, having a good time. So like, could you do that for me just for shits and giggles? Like, no, dude, I gotta pay for this $200,000 camera. It's like if you break that up into day rates, it's kind of pricey. Like for all this this iPhone stuff, I actually rented some stuff for it, and it's I haven't rented cameras in such a long time that it was like it hurt. That's why I did so many videos too. Is I was like, I got to try to like offset the cost of like $5,000 a day just to rent the damn camera.
Yeah, because so like when you rent a car, you barely pay obviously a fraction's kind of a broad term, but you pay such a tiny fraction of that car's overall value for a day's rental. Yet for a camera, they'll charge like 1/20th of that camera's value as a rental fee. So if it's a $50,000 camera, perhaps someone smarter can help me with that. Is that what is a 20? They'll charge $1,000 a day on a $50,000 camera.
Well, the reason for that is like because everybody needs a car, right? But very few people need a slow motion camera, and specifically the type that we use are considered R&D cameras. So it's very very like ultra niche. Like you have automotive companies and even very few firearms companies use the level the cameras that we'll use and everything. So your consumer market is very small. Your pool of people who are actually requesting it. So they also look at how many people are going to rent in a year. So it's not just how much would it technically be for a day rate. It's like how many people are actually going to want to use this thing in a year. So maybe it's 17 people. So it's not necessarily dividing it by 365, but dividing it by 17.
So there you go. It's really expensive, and if you do it a lot, like if your goal is to have a YouTube channel like yours, then it makes sense to buy it. You're like, God, all I need to do is use this thing 20 days, and I'm broken even on the rental fee.
Yeah, well, that's actually what I did. I used to bank shoot. I would try to shoot like 5 to 10 episodes in a day, and what I found was that the quality of the videos that I was doing really wasn't at the level which was like gratifying to me, and it like I was having to force all of this content. I would overlook certain things by trying to do so much in one day, and I was like, well, all right, well, Kyle's probably ran into this too, like whereas like networks come knocking on your door and they're like, hey, like let's do something. I'm like, okay, well, Discovery was one of them who was very, very like always kind of low key about their offers and stuff like that, and I was like, hey, look, if you guys are really serious about working with me and growing my channel, I'm not a kid who wants to go buy a car to drive around in or get like latest greatest sneakers and stuff like that. I don't care about that stuff. I care about growing my business and doing content that will be mutually beneficial to all of us. It's like if you really feel that way, then you guys will loan me the money to go in half with my business partner who has a production company separate who also uses the cameras and stuff. You'll put my half up front for me, and then you'll bank that against my AdSense, and then I'll pay it off over time and everything. And they went for it. They were like, yeah, no, we totally get that. You want to do this to grow your channel and whatnot. And over time, we did. We paid it off and everything, and it was great. But it was a very calculated, because who has that kind of money sitting around? It's not a cheap endeavor. I mean, that's a house. Like what I was saying that the other day, is like holding it in my hand. I was like, this is somebody's home. Yeah, this is a house and a piece of property somewhere that somebody's going to be raising a family. And I have.
Is it a Phantom mirror or a Is it Phantom? Is that
what I was trying out was the 2511. They just announced it like a month ago, and it's the crazy thing is like it's so hard to really like because it's the third generation sensors. They just went from the second generation sensors, which was the 1210, 1610, and 2010, and changed a bunch of things, and it's so like concerning, especially as like a business investment, because you have like Moore's law, right, where it's like you're always worried that there's going to be something in 6 months from now, and did that $200,000 investment, is it worth it, and is it going to be paid off in 3 years or what? And so I mean I do have a lot of friends in this slow motion.
In that now I know it doesn't compete with the kind of slow-mo you're talking about, but the fact that every iPhone ships with 240 frames per second, right? People slow that down into like 12 frames per second. You stretch it out, and it doesn't look like what you're doing, but all of a sudden you've got 20 times or 1/20th speed playback, and like how much competitive advantage are you getting over that? And
so a lot of people will think that I do know some slow motion snobs out there. One of my buddies who's an operator for a lot of shows like Top Shot and these other things, he's very, very like he's like again, like you were talking about, like the firearms purist and stuff like that. He's a slow motion purist, or whatever you want to call it. He's like very like, I gotta have a Phantom, and I gotta have a Cinemag, and like I need to be able to dump it like like super fast and everything. Like, well, okay, look, I'm not shooting on a Flex. I don't necessarily need like 4K for this, because it's YouTube. I mean, I can do like a 4K thing or whatever, but I'm not gonna knock the iPhone. I think like I've been using the iPhone slow-mo the last few days, and like when I did the iPhone the thermite test and everything, I was so impressed with like the iPhone slow-mo and 240. Flames look awesome. I mean, I think it's like it's legit. Like Apple really did a great job on that. Some people like they'll do 120 frames per second on devices like GoPro and everything, and it's just you're already maxing out a sensor. It's just they're already like sharpening it, and it's just not that great. But the iPhone, I feel like it's a major leap forward for like cell phone cameras. I mean, it's
The
really
fact
good.
that on a scale of 1 to 10, everyone in the world has a 5 in their pocket, it almost devalues your 10. You know,
It does.
If no
It
one
does.
else had anything in there, if everyone else has had regular cameras, all of a sudden your 10 is unprecedented.
It does to an extent, but what
Yeah.
I'm doing is like there's really no practical reason to have the frame rate that I have unless you're in the either doing what we do on YouTube or in some type of research and development part of a company, because as soon as you've seen people with the 240 frames per second stuff, you start running into the issue of light flickering. And most people aren't going to take the time to set up a shot the way that they need to make sure that the lighting is proper and everything. It's just like they want to see a cat jump in slow motion. They want to see fire in slow motion. But to really capture a bullet, you know, you have to calculate the velocity of the bullet, how many feet per second that's going to be, and like really do the math and what's the optimum frame rate, resolution, shutter speed, or shutter angle, and everything for that shot. And it's just like too much for the average person, I guess. But it definitely devalues it. And I know there's a lot of companies out there, because I have like friends in different slow motion companies, people who manufacture sensors and stuff like that. And it's really scary, because I know that there's a lot of people trying to shake up the system right now, and within the next year, it's like, is it going to flip over on its head again? So
Yeah, I imagine video talk is boring to some people. But like, I have an FS700. Do you know the Sony FS700?
yeah, absolutely. Corridor Digital shot on it forever.
Nice camera. And it does 240 frames per second at 1080p. Now, it does faster stuff at lower resolutions, but at 1080p it does that. Now every iPhone in everyone's pocket does 240, I think, at 720p.
How much you spend on the FS, if you don't mind me asking?
I think it was 8,600, maybe.
Yeah, they're not cheap. They're
Yeah.
definitely not cheap cameras.
Yeah. So and it's like, well, you know, how much better is the picture from that than from an iPhone? To a purist, it's a lot better. It's a world of difference. But to the average viewer, I don't know. And then there's this notion that some people are purists and they don't even know it. Do you know Devin Supertramp? Do you know his videos?
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't know him personally. I know his channel. I've met him a couple of times.
Yeah, I know him. Great guy. Anyway, his videos are amazing to look at. And I think that people who don't consider themselves video snobs still get blown away by outstanding color correction and videography, right? A lot of what you watch Devin
Yes.
Supertramp's videos for is just because they're so amazing to look at, right? He's not telling stories, typically. Sometimes he's filming cool things, but sometimes he's filming things that, to me, aren't even cool. Like, he's just walking around showing the beaches of Aruba or some city like Dubai or something like that. And while that's, I'm not going to call it boring or knock it, what you're really looking at is amazing videography. So people can be video snobs without self-identifying as such, because they look at greatness and recognize it. Whereas if that was shot on an iPhone, maybe they wouldn't like quite recognize that it's some lack of bokeh that's missing from it, but they'd recognize something was missing. So,
Yeah, but I think that's a issue you run with it, like all of it though. It's like you get to a point of market saturation, right, where it's like everybody has a slow-mo camera now. And so everybody's going to do the gimmicky things in the beginning. Let's slap someone, let's pop a balloon or whatever,
Raspberries.
because yeah, let's do these things, and then the market gets saturated on that stuff and people aren't interested. But for me, I'm not just a creator, I'm a consumer. I love watching other people's their tent poles, their masterpiece or whatever. And like ultimately what it does is it forces those creative people to be that much more creative to stand out. So you do get everyone does have a DSLR now, but not everybody's a Devin Supertramp. So that forced, everyone went out and bought DSLRs back in the day, and they got that shallow depth of field look in their YouTube videos and everything. But then he raises the bar. He's like, okay, this is how I use a glide cam, and this is, he has an artistic, creative vision, and I find that stuff. I mean, yeah, it is like kind of concerning at times when everybody does get a slow motion camera. It's like, oh man, okay, so I have to look at it this way. It's like, so how is the market going to be saturated? What am I doing wrong? And like, what could I do to just kind of like make the viewers appreciate what I do that much more? So I see it as a good thing as well as a bad thing. I mean.
You want a tip? Just ask Kyle for ideas. That's what I'm doing.
Right. Well, we have like a handful of stuff that we want to do. I mean, like we've been talking about.
Oh yeah, there's one video idea that involves Richard and I that's just incredible. That
See, he's a step ahead of me.
I really want to do the one that goes. You know what I'm talking about? The thing.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about it?
No.
Okay.
Maybe off camera?
I don't know. Maybe.
It's just, we were running into like we hit a hurdle because we were really excited about this video, and we're like looking at like legal reasons for like potentially like running into issues with like the song. You want to just tell them?
Yeah, it's
we don't have to like explain all of the like stuff, but it's like
the idea is it's anything you can do, I can do better. Anything you can do, I can do better.
I like this concept.
Doing the Larry Bird, Michael Jordan thing, right? Yeah. Like the trick shot stuff and everything, where it's like just constantly trying to one up each other to the point where it just gets like really insane. And like when, because this was Kyle's,
an arms race.
Yeah, like originally Kyle was like, "Hey, let's do a musical." I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" To a musical, and when he explained it, I was like, "Oh my god, that's genius!" Like, so we could like we just started spitballing like different concepts that we could do within the video.
You'd start out like it would start out like really crazy already, like anything you can do, I can do better, and I blow up a fucking school bus or something, and he's like, I can do anything better than you, and he's like flying through some like I don't know, one of the, have you know where there's like a
anti-air.
No, I see sometimes people will wingsuit through
the buildings.
Yeah, stuff like that. Like you're like wingsuiting through a building, shooting a gun or something. I don't know. Just like
that was supposed to be after you in the helicopter again, though. Like I was gonna fly by you while you were like doing the helicopter thing.
And I'm just like, what the fuck? He's actually flying. And then I'm in a jet or something. Just keep topping it over and over and just have fun with it.
And I have resources for this stuff too. So that's not even like, I actually know a guy who has like one of the larger like kind of private. I don't want to call it an Air Force, but like
Texas?
he has like a couple of MiGs and stuff that he keeps here and out towards Edwards and in Maryland, I believe. But
okay.
So and they're like, you want to talk about renting slow motion cameras? These things are actually like you start comparing like how much it costs for a MiG and jet fuel for an hour compared to a slow mo camera. And you're like, dude, maybe they're ripping people off on the slow-mo cameras. It's like, you'd think a jet would cost more to run than, an hour.
Fucker runs on kerosene.
Yeah.
School buses aren't that expensive if you wanted to blow one up. I looked into getting one not too long ago. Off-roaders use them as tow rigs. And there's a law in the United States, or most states, I don't know who enforces it, that school buses can only be so old for students to use them. So perfectly good school buses, after like 10, 15 years, just age out, and then rafting companies and regular people can buy them. And schools
that was
can't
the
use
Bluebird lobbying firm. They were in on that.
Yeah. But that it puts school buses on the market.
These old buses. We got a whole new line of buses.
Yeah. So
that's actually what we're doing during the gun channel shoot. That's why I can't make it. Is we're blowing up a mutant transportation vehicle thing. So
that's true. Richard's blowing up. I was asking Richard. I was asking Richard if he was coming to a machine gun shoot I'm going to later next month, and he was like, "Oh, I can't. I'm blowing up a zombie bus with high explosives."
This is a school bus. It's a school bus.
Bummer.
Yeah.
School bus.
You miss all the fun.
Yeah.
Oh, we were talking about. Is that the Knob Creek thing you're talking about? Did I let it out?
No.
Oh. Okay.
No, it's a different one. No, you tried. You didn't know. You tried to let it out. I mean, you tried to let it out of the bag, but you didn't.
I
No,
guess
it's not
so.
Knob Creek. It's one in Georgia.
I didn't think Knob Creek was a secret.
Secret, no.
Yeah,
No.
it's kind of well known. Is that a wrap?
I think so.
I
Okay.
believe so.
That's
All right.
3 hours.
Richard, let me just say you are a really good guest.
Well,
I told you
thank
you would be.
You're funny as fuck, man. You should
I
be
just
back
didn't know
on
what
soon.
to do. This is actually the very first podcast I've ever done, and I didn't
Yeah,
know
we-
because
pop
you were like,
that
hey,
cherry.
let's like do a Google Hangout. So like I felt like Ricky Bobby because like you guys were like you were talking about my voice. I was like, do I need to focus on the microphone? Like what do I do with my hands? like are you recording this? What's I don't maybe I should have like read an instruction manual. And then like my microphone like cable comes out and like the thing doesn't work, so I was like, maybe I should like just exit and re-enter or something. I don't know, but-
Yeah, but dude, thanks for coming. This has been a lot of fun.
Well, I really appreciate the invite.
Yeah,
thanks for
anytime,
coming.
man.
Our pleasure. All right.
All right.
PKA 199. Oh, subscribe to Richard Ryan. Link in the description. Rated RR.